just talking about anime. Guess it's important to hear what they say. Argue over what we throughout night and day. Now that you listen to the Rant Cafe.
Hey, what's up, my fellow Cheebits, and welcome back to another episode of Rant Cafe. Today we are talking about the greatest character development in anime. I am not supposed to be here, but the first host of the podcast is Lord D. Brigo.
Oh, I'm the first host? Oh, thank you, Heidi, for having me on my own podcast.
Wow, it's so nice. This is so wholesome.
Followed by a Big Mac.
Hey, hiding in public. Thanks, bro.
And finally, the legendary Nagito Flexinor.
Nugget
Mr.
Flexinor!
Taku.
Nugs and bricks!
Nugs and bricks!
Hiding, thanks for having us. What are we talking about today? I'm sure the viewers all want to know.
The greatest character development in anime. I didn't know about this topic till 5 minutes ago, but I'm introducing it. Hello, welcome everybody.
What's with this voice?
I'm being an announcer.
Okay, it's working.
I thought you were trying to make fun of Animac, who's always
Yeah,
going to be
I don't.
professional.
Do I sound like this? Do I sound like this when I introduce the podcast?
No,
I'm like,
I'll tell
Hello,
you how you sound. You sound more like, "Hey, everybody, welcome to the Rant Cafe Anime Podcast."
Yeah, well,
Animac
that's
from
better.
Anime,
That's
Anime
better than.
Uproar.
Hey guys, it's
From
Nox
Anime
Taco.
Up.
Hey guys, it's Nox Taco.
I mean, you're whispering. You're not even
That's
accepting
That's
it.
a weird whisper scream you got
Yeah,
going
because
on.
I don't want to hurt our listeners' ears, so I'm mimicking you in a way that won't hurt their ears.
Not hurting their ears is a weak mindset.
Stop.
Still saying that's a weak mindset is a weak mindset.
Yeah, just
There we
stop.
go.
Just stop, man.
All right.
Anyway,
Character
in other
development.
news, Langert donated 10,000 bits, and
What?
we love him.
Langert, you're nuts. Lord Langert, we appreciate you funding the economy of Animakistan.
Thanks for the cringe, bruh.
You're welcome. So yeah, guys, today we're talking about the best character development in anime, the characters that we thought really got the best development overall throughout the course of a series or a manga or what have you. And then at the very end of the podcast, we're going to be reading through the latest 2 chapters of our Isekai light novel, which are now up on Web Novel if you guys want to check them out. So stay tuned for that. There's some spicy moments, so hope you guys enjoyed, or hope you will enjoy. Guys, who wants to start with some of their favorite developed characters in anime/manga?
Can I just mention how much I appreciate that we gave Hiding to do the intro, and Animex still managed to do an intro?
I had to, man. We have to do it.
But I think Hiding should take it away. He's our well-esteemed guest. I was hyped to have Hiding on here since he was last here. We love our boy. Take it away.
All right, well, since I just knew the topic, Briggs told me, or he said, "Hey, what's your favorite anime?" So that he can make this beautiful, gorgeous background. Sorry for audio-only listeners. This beautiful, gorgeous background that is behind me right now. It's from my favorite anime, Sangatsu no Lion. And I think that Rei, which is the main character, deals with a good amount of character development through the series, starting in this super depressed, self-isolated shell, starting with the death of his family through a fire, and slowly growing into this really well-established person who's able to consider himself and others, kind of getting a impromptu second surrogate family and plenty of friends. It's just heart-rending. It's a heart-rending, wonderful, beautiful, wonderful development. So it's my favorite man. It's Rei.
Hey, respect.
So
I mean-
I never actually saw the second season of Sangatsu no Lion. I only saw the first season.
How was it?
Season
I've never
2
seen it.
knocks it out of the park.
Nux, did you enjoy the first season, though?
Yeah, I don't think you would, personally.
Yeah, I don't think I would either, gathering from the images that I saw, which is enough to judge an anime.
There we go. It used to be 1 episode, then it became 2 minutes. Now, fam, images. You look it up on Google Images, and that's it.
I can tell by the name. The name alone. What is that? 3 Getsu no Line? Disgusting. All right, boys. Who's next?
Well, I also wanted to talk about an anime protagonist. from a anime that I don't think is as well known as, well, your Luffy's and your Death Notes. But from Parasite the Maxim, the main character Shinichi, I think goes through some of the best character development of any protagonist I've ever seen in anime, at least.
I think Parasite is underrated, and I do think a decent amount of people have seen it though. So like, it's not like
Yeah, I
an
think
unknown
people have
anime.
seen
It's
it.
not like a secret gem or anything.
No, it's equivalent in tier to, I guess, Sangatsu no Lion.
Really?
Yeah.
All right,
I
continue.
mean, yeah, I've heard of Sangatsu no Lion being talked about in anime, communities. So I wouldn't say it's an unknown anime. I would compare it to Parasite for sure in terms of popularity.
I mean, this is irrelevant because
Very.
it doesn't matter,
Okay.
like how popular or whatever it is. They're both freaking good. That's the moral of the story. If you want to see some ugly people crying to make them even uglier, you'll watch Sangatsu no Lion. Okay, fine.
What?
I'm sorry.
Oh man, you broke his heart. Why? He was
Well,
like,
especially considering like the kind of anime you guys hold as high as you can. The fact you'd consider Sangatsu ugly. It's like one of the most artistically beautiful looking things I've seen ever put to animation.
No, the anime is beautiful. The art style for the people make the people kind of.
No, they look adorable. They got little frog mouths.
What's the name of that fat dude that becomes friends in like episode 6 with the main character?
Well, yeah, that guy's ugly, but that's because he's a fat dude in an anime.
Whenever I think Sangatsu no Lion, I just see that guy's face. Okay.
I think of Hina, and she's adorable.
Well,
I do agree, though. Parasite is really interesting.
Parasite is really interesting, and I think Shinichi has amazing character development. He starts off as, well, someone that, your average guy. He's a bit nerdy. He gets a parasite in his hand that takes over, and because he is changing on a physiological level, he's also starting to view things differently. There are different things he has to do, and he just changes. And I don't want to spoil anything, but in around episode 5, there's let's just say a heart-rending moment, and he is not the same after that point. And I think that Shinichi has fantastic character development, like the best of any protagonist. I think pretty much in anime, he's the top tier.
I think it's pretty good. I wouldn't know.
Those are some big words. Yeah, those are some big words.
He's not the best protagonist.
Yeah.
Just character development wise.
So-
I'd say for a 25 episode anime, he's
All right, I'm going to take the next character here just because of that claim there, Nuxty Boy. So Thorfinn is actually one of my favorite characters in anime, and he was not off the first season. And I think one of the primary reasons he's one of my favorite characters is because of the character development he went through. Because in the first season, he's this kid who saw his father, Thor's absolute badass, killed in front of him, so he goes to take revenge against Askechad, another great character. Again, the first season has top-tier characters. You got Thorkel and stuff, all with their own ideologies and badass scenes and all that. But then you got Thorfinn, the protagonist, which is a character that a lot of people didn't love off the bat because he's just chasing revenge. You're seeing the world shape him quite a bit, and he's just kind of going down a downward spiral. And he even, towards the end of the season, you start to see some mixed feelings he has against Askeladd. He's the guy who killed his father, but he hated him the entire time. He wanted to kill him. But as Askeladd continued to use him for his own goals, you see Thorfinn kind of warm up to him in a way and kind of see him as a father figure towards the end a little bit. And then, you get the ending of the season 1 where I can't say that, where
No, you can't say it.
where shit goes down and you see Thorfinn change again at the end of that. And then you get the farm arc, which is my favorite arc in all of Vinland Saga. And the reason why I'm not spoiling this, because I do highly recommend this series and I think you guys should all check it out. But in the farm arc, he pulls a 180. I would say he changes more than Eren. It's actually
How
insane.
dare you? Are you saying that the intro for the second season of Vinland Saga is going to be no farmer?
Yes.
Okay.
He changes in completely different ways. I'm not saying it's a similar relation. I just found that the change that Eren received was amazing, and it kind of changed the series. And I think the same thing happened in this scenario, and it made me fall in love with Thorfinn. You start to see him. I'm going to try to say this without spoiling, but you start to see him go down a completely different path and kind of take on influence from both Thor's and Askeladd, and it's fantastic.
I have to read it. I have to read Vinland
Oh, and
Saga.
Canute changes so much too. Oh, it's great.
Oh, bro, Canute has some of the best character development I've ever seen.
Well, definitely not in the anime.
What do you mean not in the anime?
You think Canute is an interesting character in the anime?
Yeah?
The prince.
The prince?
You're nuts, bro. Like what?
Dude.
What are you talking about? He's
I mean,
such
he's
a
not-
loser. Like he's a
not
loser.
one of my favorite characters,
but then he's like,
you don't see the way he changes. You don't see
so
the way
what?
he evolves.
So what? He evolves a bit. He's like, oh, I'm gonna complete another pussy, and then he's like, I'm less so of a complete another pussy. That's his whole development. Come on, man.
Bruh.
Come on.
I think you
like
need to
again, I'm
rewatch
talking
Vinland
about
Saga.
just the anime so far. You cannot say that Canute is any sort of good character in the anime.
Yeah, in the anime itself, Canute isn't. Yo, Hiding! Have you seen Vinland Saga?
Nope.
Hiding! Watch Vinland
I'm
Saga.
talking about Parasite.
Don't
we go. A man of culture.
don't do it hiding. It's not kawaii enough. Trust me.
Vinland
No,
Saga?
Hiding's good.
Yeah.
I don't
Hiding's
think
good.
not kawaii.
Parasite's very kawaii either.
Yeah, yeah. Well. No, I think
I don't know.
Canute had a decent.
I don't know
character.
how anyone could appreciate Canute so far. Like he
I
just
definitely
annoyed
agree.
me as a character. He was just so lame.
Well, in the beginning, he annoyed me, but after he, went through his Chad formation, I have
No,
to
he
say-
didn't. How dare you sully that word, which is now officially an Urban Dictionary word. Urban Dictionary has Chad formation, and you
As
would
it
sully
should.
it by referring to Canute.
Canute, the Chad of Chads. Some people think Thor's is cool. Okay, fine, I'm kidding.
I mean,
wouldn't-
Canute
even
does
I-
chat
I
up quite
wouldn't
a
do
bit
that.
within the manga as well. But the Chad formation, it's not a one step. It doesn't happen right away. You start to see a little bit in the first season, but he hasn't
course.
become a full-fledged Chad just yet. But it's not an easy road, becoming a Chad.
It's like whenever we're talking about, philosophy, Briggs is just like, Brigo, smash! Then we start talking about Chad formation, and Briggs starts swirling around his wine glass. The Chad formation. Allow me to explain.
It takes years to forge to the fire and the flames.
His soul.
Yeah, an
You must-
important Chad formation scene happens in this latest chapter with Birito and Brigo.
A true Chad
Everyone
sculpts
has
both his
to drop the
exterior
power.
and interior into the best. Okay, I'm done.
All right, yeah. Well, anywho, anime. Take it away. Talk about Eren.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk about Eren, bro. Eren is probably the best developed character in anime / manga in terms of his overall progression and the turn that it takes. However,
I mean, I would disagree.
I don't
Personally.
think that's
think,
relevant whether or not you would disagree, because the
Yeah, I think
complex
you're
thing about
making a statement that definitely insults my boy Guts, and I think that he deserves that spot.
no, but this is the thing about Eren. He develops from, like, I don't know. I guess I don't want to spoil too much, and that's very difficult to talk about because the anime fans haven't really seen anything from Eren's development. But he develops from this young innocent guy who wants to be save humanity and all this type of stuff to something completely different. Whereas Guts is a hero, I would say, from the beginning, and he just
Guts,
goes through a lot, but
hero.
stays a hero.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm. It's exactly what Guts is.
He's definitely not viewed as a hero by anyone, but I would say that he is. He's just not viewed. He's rough around the edges. He's dressed in black, as opposed to the man who did nothing wrong, the White Knight, Griffith.
Okay, listen.
Everyone views Griffith as being
I just-
perfect and being a good guy, while everyone views usually negative Guts as the opposite, right?
No, I know, but I mean, in terms
Guts
of
has
looking at
done some
Guts, you're
pretty
always
messed up things,
Nux,
man.
hold on. I think Guts is someone we are always relating to as the readers, whereas, and you're right, he's not like some kind of innocent dude or anything like that, but he is the protagonist. Whereas with Eren, it changes to the point where it's like, I don't know if I relate to this guy anymore. I don't know if I disagree with him. I don't know, I don't know what to do. It's become so complex, and I kind of love that. It's such a drastic development, and
To
it doesn't
quote
necessarily make
Iron
him a
Mouse.
good person, though. But it's a drastic development.
To quote Iron Mouse, who is in the chat right now, Eren sucks major balls.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I take back my
checkmate,
woohoo. I
Well-
take back my woohoo mouse.
Well, but again, when it comes to Guts, he develops throughout. I think, Animac, you've only seen to the Eclipse.
Yeah, and
Like-
a bit further. So I've seen to like the arc where they defeat that priest dude.
So directly after the
So you've
eclipse.
seen nothing.
Although in regards to Aaron,
if like 50 chapters is directly after the eclipse or whatever.
in regards
Yeah,
to
okay.
Aaron, I hated his guts. Honestly, just in general, the cast of Attack on Titan was never a big fan. But around chapter 100, you get to see Aaron do a 180, and he does become a great character. So I don't know
I
if
agree.
Mel C has what's it called, read the manga, but he changes so much and actually becomes likable for me. I don't like. See, it's so funny. Animac says that because Animac liked him originally, and now he's not sure. Before it was like I didn't
No,
like him.
Animac always liked him.
No, I love him as a character. I'm just saying he's not necessarily a good guy anymore. That's the difference, right?
Oh, I wasn't following that. I was about to say like I like characters when they're not good. So.
No, yeah.
Not
So
that
what
I
I'm saying
relate
is,
to them.
I mean,
but, yeah.
Askeladd's the best character in Vinland Saga, at least so far for me.
He was my favorite in season 1, but Thorfinn took it away from me.
God damn! I have to read it. I have to read it.
yeah, and Askeladd
Almost
is
as
a
much as
great-
hiding has to tell us another character with the character development.
Just to say quickly for Askeladd, I think that he also undergoes an incredible development, and it's so weird because when you start the Vinland Saga manga or anime, you hate this dude. Like he's this conniving dude. He kills Thors based on like false presets, and
He kills Thors because he was a mercenary, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Dude, please kill Thors," and he was like, "You know what?"
Yeah,
Right.
so he does it in a dishonorable way in terms of like a warrior code and all that type of stuff. So, and obviously Thorfinn hates him and you want to hate him too. And he does some horrible things that there is no excuse for, like killing civilians and all this type of stuff. And yet he is such a complex character so that as a character, you can really appreciate him, even if you can't relate or support what he does. And I think that's really cool. And it speaks to life itself. Like nowadays in the world, we pretend like people we look up to are perfect, and then it turns out that 10 years ago they said something we didn't like, and then we try to cancel them. But in reality, no one's perfect. Everyone is nuanced. Everyone has a bad side and a good side. And I think that's something that great characters in anime bring out really well, including Askeladd.
I think that's well said. When it comes to Askeladd, though, I wouldn't say he has necessarily character development, not all that much in Vinland Saga, the anime. Our perception of him changes over time, and I think he's a fantastically written character, but I don't think character development is like what makes him good.
More
Well,
gets
I would
revealed to us,
disagree.
right?
I would disagree because if you look at his treatment of Thorfinn and his relationship with Thorfinn, I think there's a lot of development there.
You want to elaborate, like where you see any development? How does he as a person change? Right, that's what character development
I would
is.
see a little bit. 'Cause I feel like in the beginning he was just trying to use Thorfinn just in general because he saw that he had potential, right? And he was a strong individual.
And he
Towards the
still
end,
used him to the end.
To the end, he used him, but he still kind of. Fuck, it's so hard to explain when you can't say what happens. But in the end, I feel like he was trying to look out for Thorfinn to a certain extent and didn't want.
Yeah, and I think what he did at the end was
Yeah.
very much part of his relationship developing with Thorfinn as well.
I didn't see it like that, though. I think that he would have. He's a man that pretty much lost almost everything when he got to that point. I think he was in character. His character in episode 1 would have done the same thing.
That's an interesting thing to say. I wonder, but you've given us something to think about. Nux.
I don't
By the way,
think his character in episode 1 would have done the same thing.
as much as I
need to
love
rewatch that
Iron
last
Mouse, she's over in the chat defending Subaru as a good character.
I think she's right. Subaru's a great character.
He's an okay
Man.
character, but Eren is so much better. It's not even like a
Well, I
competition.
mean, if you're only talking Eren in the anime, because Iron Mouse has only, I think, seen the Attack on Titan anime. But I think Subaru's a good character. I think he has good development. We see his psychology evolve throughout the entirety of ReZero. I think he's a good character. Is he my favorite? No, but I think he's a well-developed character. But hiding must speak.
Hello!
Yeah, hiding here. I was hyping myself up for this for 6 years.
6 years.
Wait, what?
6 years. I was
Okay.
hyping myself up. Today's the day. Hiding in public. The legend. And there's no other way to pronounce his name.
That's true.
Right?
Wow, that's true.
I was looking forward to this for so long. And here he is. Not knowing what Vinland Saga is and not being able to contribute to the conversation. I will not stand for this.
Okay, beyond Vinland Saga, I will contribute to the previous part of the conversation. Then I'll present a new person. How about that?
Yeah.
And because Nux
so
was,
happy.
he was looking so forward to me being on. Because of that, I will
How
actually
long?
contribute for 6 years. I think you said, if
Years!
I'm remembering correctly. Then
Well
I
put.
will contribute to the last thing you said, which is I actually think that you pointed out maybe it was just like one word. It was just one word, but I think that you kind of touched on what I think makes in Parasite's most interesting development, and that is that you don't know how much of Shinichi's development is of his own will and how much isn't, because it's a physiological reaction.
That's
And
why
so
I
you're
use
always
that word.
wondering- It's like he's changing as a person, and he realizes he's changing, but he's not sure how much of this is his own will and how much of it isn't. And then he's also like debating it with Migi, and he's like, is this a problem? Is this not? Migi doesn't view it as a problem, of course, but Migi is also becoming more like Shinichi. And so it's hard to tell if they've really maintained who they truly were at the start. There's still that feeling like he might be the same deep down, but you see him do certain things or snap at certain characters or talk certain ways that makes you like look at it in an interesting way. Anyways, physiologically,
I like that you said that, and that's why I mentioned specifically the heart-rending moment in episode 5,
because that's what kicks it off.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's my addition to Nux's thing. Since Nux looked forward to me being on, so I thought, okay, well, I'll just talk about
how
something
long?
he said. For 6 years, apparently.
Damn.
Yeah, bro.
Mine
Even
was
before
worth
this
it.
podcast
It was worth
existed,
it.
Nux knew this would happen.
But I'm
Nux-
gonna do one that's really obvious, really easy. Everybody probably in the chat, hopefully everybody in the chat, and everybody on here probably knows it as well. And that's just because I've rewatched the series 2 times in like the last month and a half. And that is Death Note and the character L. I think that
I heard of
L
him.
is. I've heard of him. He's a little, very underrated, very little known character. But I've been rewatching, and I keep seeing these subtle things, right? Because you don't think of like the huge development, but we're talking about best development, you know, but you don't think like this huge development. And that's because L is always so kept to himself. He doesn't let anybody in. He doesn't let anybody see how he's feeling or anything like that, except for these tiny little cracks. There's like these tiny little cracks start to show, specifically with him becoming Light's friend, because that's another thing where you're unsure as the viewer how much is Shinichi's thing, whether it's his choice or not. In the same way, you don't know how much of it is a manipulation towards Light because you only hear Light's perspective. And so L seems to be opening up, and that weakness, of course, leads to the big thing that happens in the first half of Death Note. I just think that he's a really interesting character. Obviously, really endearing, really interesting. He starts as this weirdo, but then he kind of adapts to act a little more normally with the police crew who end up staying. And then also with Light, him slowly starting to consider him his friend. And you can see, even though L's whole purpose is to solve these crimes, you know, even before Kira comes up, his whole life has just been raised and bred to solve the world's hardest crimes. And you see that conflict within himself where he's like, he wants more than anything to be right. It's the thing he cares about the most. But then also the fact that he feels like in process of doing this, he could be hunting down the only person he ever considered his friend. And the development from just cold calculating nothing, kind of like Nier, to this sort of very unfortunately empathetic L, I think is really good. Hopefully that wasn't word salad.
I like that you brought up L, because when you think character development in Death Note, obviously people think of Light because he changes so much. He starts off as, you know, some smart kid who clearly has been on Twitter and sees that the world is rotten, and all of a sudden he has the godly power to cancel people by just writing their name in a Death Note, you know.
So that is a great metaphor. Imagine Death Note in a world of Twitter. Imagine,
right?
Oh my god.
Death to tweet.
I can literally
Death Note
see
didn't
that.
kill
Like,
people. It was the cancel note.
Yeah, when someone gets canceled, they just put hashtag Kira next to all their canceled tweets in hopes that Kira will notice this person and kill them. I can see it.
Yeah. So
Unfortunately.
in this very bleak world, Twitter personified in the world of Death Note, we see Light's development, and it's massive. And Wong's PP, I think, donated 10,000 bits, which is pretty
That's
crazy.
nuts.
Damn.
And no one understands Hasagawa Taizo from Gintama. Oh, I love that man so much. I'll talk about him in a second. Just because of you, Mr. Wong Peepees.
Yeah,
Watch Wong
no one
Peepees as a girl.
understands Wong's PP. Thank you, Wong.
Anyway,
Thank you, Wong.
You're a mad lad. But anywho, what was I saying? Oh yeah, everyone sees Light's development in a massive way. He starts off as this kid. He gets power, and you see the power corrupt him. Like, and it's plain. It's right there, and you see it from episode 2 when he writes down Lolliette's, no, not Lolliette, that's L's name, but whatever his name is. What's the guy's name?
Lind L. Taylor.
Lind
Yeah,
L.
Lind L.
Taylor. Him.
Nice.
He writes down Lind L. Taylor. That moment is when you see him start getting corrupted, and it only goes downhill from there, at least on a moral level.
Yeah.
And bruh, I have to say that you mentioned L. I very much appreciate that, because I think he also develops a lot, and it's not as obvious as Light's development. But
Yeah, so when you actually mentioned that hiding, when you mentioned L, I wasn't quite sure what you were talking about, because you could argue, as you said, since we didn't know much about L, you could argue that was him all the time, and we just kind of like got to see what he was really like as the story went on. But I think your mention of his relationship with Light actually is a really great point in terms of him developing and actually starting to trust someone, and yet knowing full well that this person could be his downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of Light, though, did
6 years were worth it.
Did Light develop, though? I think that's an interesting question, because was he always this dude, and then he just got the Death Note and got the means to do these things that we would have wanted to do anyway, secretly?
Yeah, I think it's clear that he actually develops, especially like my go-to example of this. At one point, he has this whole pretty epic, 5-head strategy where he erases his own memories, and then he works with L to track down Kira, right? That whole like mini arc over there.
Yeah.
So in the second he erases his memories, he immediately thinks what Kira is doing is not just.
Yes, and that's my question to you, Nux, is whether it's
It was
just the
only
fact
just while it was by his hand.
but is it? Yeah, so that's the thing. Is that really development, or is it just that the power of the Death Note brought out his true personality?
I don't know.
I think the power corrupted him, honestly.
Yeah,
because I
I'm with
think
Brigo.
genuinely when he first got it, his idea was to get rid of criminals. But slowly, as he was getting attacked by the police force and L and was battling with them, it became more than that. It became, I'm gonna beat them, right? And he would he started off with certain morals, but he slowly went insane throughout the process, and kind of his morals were completely gray area. He would kill just about anyone they got in his way towards the end. And I don't think episode 1 through 3 Death Note would have done the exact same thing. Or actually, yeah, he kills Lind L. Taylor. Never mind.
Yeah,
Well,
so that's my point, because at first he's like this really brilliant guy who's bored at school and all this stuff, and as soon as he gets the Death Note, he becomes this dude with a god complex. But maybe he always had that. What if he always had that superiority complex? It was just given expression through the Death Note.
Well, actually, in episode 1, which is really early on, obviously, I think the Lind L. Taylor thing is like episode 3?
Two.
Episode 2, damn. Yeah,
And
because
of 2,
episode
yeah.
4 and 5 are like 4, 5, and 6 are like the bus, and then
the what's her name?
Lockhart's
Ray
fiance.
Pember. Ray Pember's
Yeah, Ray
fiance.
Penber. Lockhart, what the fuck?
Naomi Mitsuru.
Although,
Yeah.
Gilderoy Lockhart, top 5 characters in Harry Potter. Okay, just saying it. I know
True.
people don't like him, but that's because they don't understand him.
But I think something that is in that first episode is after he gets it, he initially doesn't really like the idea, and he just does it as like a impromptu, might as well just see if it's true.
Well, he
It
didn't
happens,
believe it.
and you see him genuinely panic and freak out. But then you think, oh, it had to be a coincidence. And then he sees a girl getting sexually assaulted or about to be outside, and he's at like the comic book store or the general store, and he writes down the name, and it works out. And that's where he freaks out, and he goes into the alley, and he's like, I'm a murderer. Oh no, I can't believe I've done this. Blah 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 blah. And then there's a cut to 3 days later, and then you can see that there was a change in that 3 days, even though it's all in the first episode, because Death Note is it takes a page out of its own book, and instead of like stretching out one plot point for like 9 years, it actually goes through like so much stuff so quick. It's such an enticing show. But in that, I think you do see the development where he specifically in the alleyway after killing the second person in the general store, he actually like starts to panic and like hyperventilate a bit, because he realizes, wait, does this make me a murderer? Did I just killed that man? And then you see the cut, and it's like, oh, you've been busy, Ryuk says.
Yeah.
And he's got like all these pages. But then
again,
still, you see that,
to play the devil's advocate here, I still think that part of that shock that he felt was just that, or his at first not lack of excitement, was just that he didn't believe it would work. So it wasn't that he was hesitant to kill someone; it was that he just didn't think it would really work. And
Yeah,
then when
that
he
was
sees
the
that it
first
worked,
time. But the second time, he freaked out.
No, even the first time though, he was saying that he was a murderer. Like he's like, I can't believe what I just did. Like he was grabbing his heart. Like, oh my god.
But I think he also didn't believe it. Like he
Yeah, I
still
think it was
talked
a
himself
double
into
thing,
that it
though.
was a coincidence.
yeah, I think he
But
thought
that
it was a
second
coincidence.
time is when he realized he just killed a man.
Yeah.
And
And
then
he
as he
was-
continues on, he
Someone
also
called Logan
clearly
Paul.
like cares about his father and his family and everything like that initially. And he helps his sister with her homework. It's really adorable and all that sort of stuff. And then eventually, I think it twists from I am justice, I am helping those out. The Lindell Taylor moment is what starts the devolution from there to where he goes from I won't just kill criminals, but I'll kill people who not just who get in my way, but who stop my justice. And then my justice becomes I am the only one capable and smart enough to do this. So it's like his ego of growing up as this super intelligent kid kind of increases with the power, and each success leads him to go further and further, even to the point where not really getting specific on spoilers here, but where he's willing to sacrifice the people who are closest to him.
And he definitely views it as the greater good. It's like, okay, I could take this person out who's trying to take me out because at the end of the day, I'm going to save so many lives and clean up the entire world,
At the end of the day,
Exactly,
I
yeah.
am the god of the new world. I am the most important person.
Yeah, and I believe he declares that in the very first episode that he wants to be the god of this new world. So he has that complex very early on.
Yeah.
And yes, he adopts this mindset is that I'm going to do so much good. I'm such a good person and I'm doing so much justice that anyone who stands in my way, even if they are actually good people and doing it out of the right intentions, must be eliminated for the greater good. And that's a very dangerous, thought to have.
If you want to look at him like after the time skip, after like episode 25, right? When it kind of shifted arcs to the second half of Death Note, he was a very different person than he was in the first half.
If anything, I feel like he got complacent in that second part.
Yeah, absolutely. He was just satisfied with the gears turning, and you saw how like nonchalant he was about the whole thing. He would kill people. It got to the point that he would kill people to set a precedent as opposed to killing people for
To
justice.
send a message kind of thing. Yeah. And it really is interesting, bro. It's like there's a parallel in our own world of this idea that I think I'm right no matter what. And I'm justified in demonizing and destroying everyone who disagrees with me, even if they're good people, because I am so sure that I'm right. And everyone who disagrees with me must be harming society in some way and must be dealt with.
Bro, it's almost like Death Note's like a really good show.
It is. It really is. That's another one of the shows, along with like Code Geass, that I've seen like 5 times.
Yeah, I've seen Death Note and Code Geass multiple times each. I think I've seen Code Geass more times. But
Ludicrous Fun, thank you for the $100 donation. How amazing.
God damn.
Ludicrous Fun is the manliest Chad out there.
Well, with that said, it's Brigo's. No, is it Brigo's turn or is it my turn? It's my turn. Hell yeah.
Nice.
I was so just quickly to mention Hasegawa. It was I think Langert. No, Big Peepee. Peepee, Wong Peepee. Wong Peepee. Wong
Big
Peepee. Anyway, so the absolute Chad Hasegawa. This man, oh, what a beautiful man. He starts off with like this incredible political position of power. Everyone looked up to Madao. Wait, am I thinking of the right guy? Madao Hasegawa, right? That's who he said. No? Is that the guy that he said?
I think so.
Hold on. Because
damn
you're
it.
confused. Because you're confused.
Am I confused about what?
You're confused about who, and then Yubi's like wrong peepee instead of wrong peepee.
In the way, thanks to Wrong Peepee, we get to talk about Hasegawa, Madao, the legend, and he had this really cool position of power. Things were going great, and he was willing to sacrifice it at one point, like to help out his bros. His bros being odd jobs, who are the beacon of light in these dark times, and he goes homeless. And the entire remainder of the anime is this person's massive fall from grace. How he was in such an amazing place, but to help his friends. He goes homeless, and then everyone just craps on him for the rest of the story. And it's amazing. And like he goes to get like these job interviews, but he sucks. He sells everything he owns except for his sunglasses. And like It's the only thing that's left that he cares about. He becomes the god of the boxes because he lives in a box on the side of the road. And he starts this entire society of homeless people. He's a beautiful man. He's a beautiful man. His development is fantastic. Gintama is special. What can I say?
I saw a few people talking the chat, mentioning the chat Noelle Silva. I think she has some really good development, but I wouldn't say it was one of the best developments. At least not yet. We'll see where she goes.
But the character that I wanted to mention, I have two in mind. I wanted to mention Meruem since Animac just finished the Chimera Ant arc.
Yes,
but I even more than him, I wanted to talk about Chaz Princeton from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Oh my god.
No one understands this man. He's a beautiful man. Let me tell you about Chaz. Come around.
Tell me about Chaz, Nux. Tell me about Chaz.
I'll tell you. I'm going to Chaz you. Look at the chat. Chaz it up, boys. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh my god, it's amazing. So Chaz starts off as this massive dick. And he's like an obelisk blue, which is the most prestigious sect of the students. And oh my god, the chat is chazzing it up. It's beautiful. Love to see it. Anyway, so and Jaden, main character, he's like lowest tier Slifer Red student. So he always picked on Jaden, especially because Jaden, even though he was in such a low class, he was like one of the best duelists in the school. He just wasn't good at like the theory of it and all that. He wasn't intellectually great, and Chaz was just unhappy about this whole thing. And the way you'd see Chaz duel, like on a technical level, in the first season, Chaz used Chthonian monsters, which are demonoid zombie dragons. And like all their effects were, whenever I take damage, you take damage too. He was the ultimate edgelord rich kid, and everyone hated him. Eventually, he loses to Jaden in this massive duel to see who like the best person in the school is and stuff. And he's so humiliated by the defeat. He actually dueled Jaden once prior, and they had a draw. And he was like blown away that they would get into a draw. And he was the only character that actually tied it with Jaden. Jaden pretty much beat everyone else. So after this happens, he leaves the school. He just ditches. And he ends up traveling instead to North Academy as opposed to Duel Academy, which is an entirely different dueling school. And they have very different rules. Over there in North Academy, it's survival of the fittest. It's none of this, democracy stuff. Nah, fam, we don't believe in any of that. And essentially, like, you have to travel through the frozen tundra to find 40 cards and put them together to build a deck. So he finds 40 cards, and he's about to enter through the gates, and there's this one guy sitting there, like, huddled up, and he's, like, frozen. He's like, dude, what's wrong? And he's like, I only found 39 cards. I can't go in. And Chaz is like, well, no worries, man. I found 41. And he gives him an extra card so he can enter the school instead of sitting outside in the frozen tundra. And don't ask questions. It's Yu-Gi-Oh, okay? So anyway... And then the dude goes in. Chaz only actually found 40. He didn't find 41. So he's actually stuck outside. And when the dude goes in, he just, like, out of the corner of his eyes, he sees a single card, Chaos End. And he's like, wow, the 40th card that he adds. But you see his character is already changing. Like, he lets the old man in, like, as opposed to himself. And this is where his development begins. After entering the school with his really wacky deck that he just assembled just from a bunch of various cards, he manhandles all the students in the school. And eventually, there's this massive tournament, the best student in Duel Academy versus the best student in North Academy. And the best student in North Academy was Chaz, and the best student in Duel Academy was Jaden. And Chaz, he made the whole school his bitch, because this man, in Duel Academy, Chaz is the kid that came from, like, a rich family. He had expensive cards and all of that. And he was an edgelord that felt like he was entitled. But the Chaz that was in North Academy was a character that had the opposite of that. He worked for where he was. He was selfless when he needed to be. And he became a completely different person. And the entire North Academy was just screaming, Chaz it up! Chaz it up! And of course, Chaz lost because Jaden never loses any.
And of
duels.
course, Chaz lost.
In all of
Wow.
Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Wait, I'm not finished. Of course, I
Nux,
lost.
hey Nux, thank you for this TED talk on Chaz.
I'm not finished, anime.
Man, I
I'm
was
not
so
even
hyped for
finished.
Chaz to win against Jaden.
So
Yeah,
hyped
right.
for Chaz to live. And of course, he lost
Of course
because
Chaz
Jaden
lost.
wins every
Wait,
time.
So anyway. Anyway.
This reminds me, Nux, just
It
before
gets
you continue.
better. It gets better.
Okay, go on.
Okay. I'm glad you asked. So anyway, then Chaz's two older brothers, one of them runs like this massive company. The other one runs something else. I don't know. They're two like extremely well-known people, super rich. And they, their plan was for Chaz to become like the ultimate duelist ever, because they'll have the ultimate duelist, the ultimate rich guy, and the ultimate whatever the other brother was. Oh, and the brothers' names? I have to remember the brothers' names. What were their names? It was like Slade and like these really cringy.
Laser.
One was
Blazer.
Slade. It was amazing. I don't remember their names, but they were great. People in
Slade
chat.
and Jackhammer.
People in people in chat, please go find Slade and Jagger. They found it. It's them. Slade and Jagger.
No,
That was their name.
Slade and Jagger.
Yes! They were like a living embodiment of Attack on Titan's first opening. That's how edgy they were. And anyway, so with like the rich guy and the other guy, they put their brilliance together to form a deck of just super expensive cards. And they put a rule in place for whatever reason that Chaz in his duel against them, where if Chaz wins, he'll be allowed to stay in Duel Academy or whatever. And it becomes this whole emotional high. If he wins, then it's great. But he can only use a deck where every monster in his deck has 0 attack, which is rough because, So anyway, Chaz has no idea what to do. People in Duel Academy don't even have cards with 0 attack. They suck. What's he going to do? He ends up like finding like these garbage cards called the
Ojamas.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the classic.
I summon Ojama Green.
He does. He does. And with the Ojamas annoy the crap out of him. And Chaz goes from the ultimate edgelord to like a goof character. But when he was the edgelord and he commanded respect from his peers respected the bad parts of him. They only respected him for his money, for his power. But when he ended up changing into a different person after getting the Ojamas. Oh, and by the way, when he dueled his brother, he creamed him. He destroyed him with monsters with 0 attack. We were cheering for Chaz. Our hearts were bleeding, man. Goddamn legend. And with the Ojamas by his side, the people that started respecting him were the people that someone really should have around. They respected him for his character. He became a person that he himself was okay with, and he didn't need to put on this edgelord rich boy facade all the time. He had some of the best character development of all time, to the point that everyone started cheering, Chaz it up, bro. Chaz it up.
Man, I respect this rant you just had. You
I
convinced me.
cried.
I've never seen Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I don't care to see it, but you really did convince me that this is good character development.
Chaz has some really fantastic character development. What's also amazing is like they respected him so much in those early arcs. Like the early arc where he was the edgelord, they made him like cool, like Guitar Hero riffs every time he would like walk on screen, And then like later when he became like a total goofball, he had some pretty badass moments, but no one took him seriously. And he reveled in it. He didn't even try. He wrote a poem for the girl that he loved. I won't remember the whole poem by heart because I've only seen it like 10 or 12 times. But it goes something along the lines of, hold on, I have to try to remember. My love for you is like an Ojama. I love you more than a trip to the Bahamas. I love you even more than a llama loves his mama. I love you in a dress, but also in pajamas. Something
Beautiful.
Like that. And the greatest thing is that he said this to a girl, and the girl's brother, who's like this badass dude, he started crying. And he was like, "You go, Chaz!" And he was like cheering up. It was beautiful.
Of course, that brother's clearly a Chad.
Little did I know the 6 years I was waiting for, it wasn't for hiding. It was to talk about Chaz.
God damn, that was a good rant, man.
Thanks, bro. Also, in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Kaiba sends a spaceship to space with Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards because he says, if there is intelligent life out there, we got to teach it how to duel, which I think is a strong mindset. But
That is a strong mindset.
goddamn, God bless Chaz.
In the chat, so this sort of turn from villain to hero reminds me of
I'm sweating.
your blurred girl from the chat earlier on talked about Mao from The Devil's a Part-Timer and his development.
Yeah.
It's crazy how fast it happened too. It was just like, I am killing everyone. I am the Demon King. Haha. Now I'm
even
working at
in the
McDonald's
Demon
and I like working for a living and this is fun.
He was never that evil. He just did his thing. I mean, he was the demon lord. They kept trying to kill him, so he was like, "All right, let's unleash an army of demons on the world and take over." And then, you know,
it's an example of how if your circumstances are completely changed, you
Yeah.
in many ways change as a person. So I thought it's funny. It's a very funny concept, but it also is an interesting concept in terms of just like humanity. And if you're born under certain circumstances, you will be a certain way. But if your circumstances suddenly change, you may also change.
It makes sense too, because like he had everything in that other world. Like he had close to absolute power. It was like, and then when he had to finally retreat to the other world, and he had nothing, or our world, and he had nothing at all. Every little thing gave him so much fulfillment that he changed as a person.
Yeah, because he had to earn things, right?
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Which character?
I think you were actually. I think you were gonna mention.
What is this? A Super Saiyan bargain sale?
No, please.
Bro, Vegeta goes through a lot of development. We first meet him, and he
does,
like has no regard for human life. He kills his. So you think that he's this proud Saiyan, and he would care about having like there's only like 5 or 6 Saiyans left, or 4 or 5 Saiyans left. You think he would care about the Saiyan race, but since what's his name? Fucking Nappa.
Yeah.
What is his power level read messed up and was worthless in his eyes because he couldn't defeat Goku. He just killed him then and there. He has no regard for human life. Even when he goes to Namek, he just absolutely finishes people off and goes ham on the people that Goku was letting live. And he was just completely brutal and honestly, like he was a very dark person. And then you see him start to change. Like he was always struggling, being one step behind Goku. He was struggling with this. But during that time that he was training on Earth. He got a family. He married Bulma, had a kid, and he started to like definitely change a little bit. And his thing wasn't completely linear. It was an absolute roller coaster, his development. Because then you got in the Buu Saga, where he went Majin Vegeta and just killed a bunch of people in the crowd, was willing to throw everything away, even his family, just to finally surpass Goku. And then later he realized that that's not worth it. And in Super, I think he becomes a worse character, but he absolutely developed. He cares so much about his family.
Yeah,
it's
you
crazy.
See, he makes a fool of himself in front of Beerus just to
exactly.
Keep his
like I think
alive.
I love the old ruthless Vegeta, and I think he could have a family and still be ruthless and badass, which he does have his moments. But I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of him in Super, but he absolutely developed in such an extreme way from his first introduction.
Brigo, I would agree with you. I think Vegeta does have a lot of development, but I also think it would be pretty funny if, you know how people on Twitter were freaking out when it turned out that Joji said the N-word when he was Filthy Frank?
Yeah.
I think it would be pretty amazing when, like, in Dragon Ball Super Extra Ultra Season 7, when they find out that Vegeta just killed people randomly and they cancel him. That would be epic.
Oh yeah, Vegeta's canceled on Twitter, bro. It's over.
Yeah. Man.
I just can't wait till Twitter gets canceled itself like Tumblr did. That's going to be awesome.
Well, I mean, Twitter bans porn. Goodbye, Twitter.
I know. Why
the only use for Twitter is that, like, it's a good place for networking for creators.
Correct,
Honestly,
yeah.
That's it. Other than that, it's just a hellhole.
I would never have
I
would never have like a personal Twitter. Like, why?
I have a personal Twitter. I don't use it anymore. But
Well,
like,
exactly.
for example, if you're a consumer though, like if you're someone who views us content creators, I think it's a great way to keep up with what we're doing. Like a lot of the times, well, I stream, so a lot of my life is open and I talk about it. But if you're just making videos, that connection can be gained through Twitter to a certain extent, right?
No,
Yeah.
I agree with you that there's a purpose to Twitter when it comes to connecting with people.
Yes.
But when it comes to you know, everyone in your family getting a Twitter account to follow each other, like no,
No, definitely not.
no.
Anywho,
How did we start talking about Twitter?
because Vegeta would get canceled.
yeah.
Animac, please talk about Meruem.
You really want me to talk about Meruem?
Yes.
All right, but like so many Seven
Unless-
Deadly Sins
unless you wanna do
characters,
a
One
separate-
Piece characters.
Unless you want to do a separate episode on the Chimera arc.
I mean, it's up to you. I do think that Meruem is an interesting character. He's a massive simp, but I still like him.
You disgust me, Animac. Don't talk about Meruem. I don't want to hear this.
Meruem is obviously a simp for Komugi, bro. We know it.
Is Komugi mediocre though? She's the greatest, like what?
Gungi player in the
Yeah,
world.
the
Gungi,
greatest
bro.
Gungi player to ever exist. She's an ultimate. She's the ultimate Gungi player. I don't
She
know.
was playing 5-dimensional Gungi when you were playing chess.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. So the Meruem is interesting because he's born as this guy who is, the embodiment of his race's evolution. He is intended to rule the whole world. Everyone worships him as this foretold king and all this other stuff. And yeah, so at first he's just this overpowered dude, and you're thinking, yeah, he doesn't have any humanity to him because he's a ant. He was created, through this process of evolution.
Yeah,
This guy will have no sympathy for inferior beings such as humans. And yet he goes and he's like, in order to train my, I guess, mind and all this other stuff, I'm going to start playing these strategy games with the best humans in these games that I can find, which again, that is a strong mindset because he plays strategy games, not first person shooters, which are stupid. And he
I love Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Honestly,
Once
I think we should talk about Fire Emblem Three Houses.
once Meruem comes across Komugi, she is this like savant when it comes to this one game, Gungi. And through his struggle to defeat her, because he's so overconfident, he thinks I'm going to crush this person in like 3 matches, it's over. He realizes the potential of human beings. And he, of course, he was created through the consumption of human DNA as well. So he discovers his own humanity through Komugi, and he starts seeing that there's value to human beings. They're not just there to serve or to be destroyed. And I do think there's really cool development in that, for sure.
Y'all ever just go to the farm, say hi to the moo-moos, and squish the ants? You ever just go to the squish the ants at the farm?
I don't get this reference.
You
Fuck
know one
ants.
thing I like
That's
about
what I'm
Komugi? I like that you could take her hair and go floof, floof, floof.
True. I'll be honest, I love Komugi, but like I was a little bit like set off by the fact she's got freaking snot all the time. Like it's cute and all, but I don't like...
it's a bit of an issue that her hair's white. Ooh, old stinky.
True,
Ooh,
old stinky
oh.
snotty
Oh yeah,
grandma.
it's true.
But
She is pretty snotty. I don't understand why.
it's such a
Animac.
strange.
Animac, you disappoint me. Hiding, take it away. Next character.
Next character.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Let me see.
But I have to say, if you don't see Meruem's evolution from a character that's a monster to a character that becomes a human, pretty much, like mentally, like.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil the very end, though. I don't want to spoil the very end. That is very deep. And I do appreciate, and I really loved the fight between him and Netero. I was expecting like a massive fight that involved everyone, and that was kind of subverted in a cool way in that arc. But we could talk about that if we do a deep dive on the arc later on in the story. But I do think the Meruem development was cool in a way that I wasn't expecting for a major villain in a shonen series.
The fact that Animac thinks Hunter x Hunter is a 6 out of 10 is disappointing.
I don't think that.
Dang,
I
you
know,
think-
I just
you
said-
think Hunter x Hunter's a 5 out of 10?
Bro, I can't believe he literally said to me he would say it was 4 out of 10, but he doesn't want people to know.
I would actually say it's about an 8.5. overall.
What? That's pathetic. Did you hear
6.5.
that?
That's like
He
the
just
same as
said-
Clannad after story.
I
What the
can't
heck?
believe he would say it's a 6.5. I would even give Clannad a 7.
I think I did move mine up to a 7 recently.
Well, one day you'll move it up to where it belongs when you undergo your Chad formation hiding.
Yeah. Hopefully it's soon. I've got an example from one of Animac's favorite shows in the entire world. He's made it very, very clear that he loves these type of shows. And I've definitely not talked about this explicit show in this explicit moment the last time that I was on Rant Cafe. I'm sorry for using the word explicit. I promise this is all family friendly. Minoru Shiraishi from Lucky Star, specifically
Bro.
Lucky Channel, undergoes some of the greatest character development.
I thought you were going to say
Tell
Minoru
us
Mineta.
about this. Tell us.
He goes from being an absolute dare I say the dead meme word, simp, trying to, his hardest. You know, not even a simp. It's not even for a girl. It's just that he wants so badly to have a career in television. You know, he's that dedicated man. He's doing anything he can. He's got this
then
really
he needs
old.
to drink up and have his Fiji water.
Yeah. Well, he does. He eventually gets to it. That's the main thing, actually.
I know, Heidi.
I know. It's almost like I talked about it last time I was on here, but here we go.
Dude,
Start
you
time,
should
baby.
come once a month to Rant Cafe to just tell us about Minoru Himashimiishi.
Yeah, Minoru Shiraishi. I had to look up his name actually too because I forgot it. His last
I don't
name.
blame you. No,
I only like Minoru Mineta.
But yeah, after he climbs Mount Fuji to get water and give it to this old pouty idol lady who looks like a
I'm
child but
literally
drinks
shaking
really,
and
smokes really
crying right
hard.
now.
She throws the water on the ground and he fucking snaps. He starts screaming. He flips over the table and he runs at the cameraman. It's crazy. He gets fired, needless to say. But that sort of, I guess that's what you would call the breaking point in his character arc, you know, where everything had been welling up for so long. And finally, he just broke through into the true man that he really was. Anyways, that's what
This is like on him getting fired is on par with me giving a 10-minute rant hyping up Chaz's rematch with Jaden.
I actually like that. As much as I hate your rants usually, man, that was actually pretty dope. Like you conveyed clearly why this.
I was
a
very
really-
invested in your rant, actually.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, I need to make Chaz videos weekly.
Oh my god.
Yeah. There's an extra episode of Rant Cafe every month where I only talk about Minoru Shiraishi for 5 minutes. You talk about Chaz for 10, and then we'll have, you know, we can keep adding on to it. One
And then
story.
we could have Animac, you know, destroy his reputation by saying how Hunter x Hunter's a 4 out of 10.
Jesus, I still can't believe he would give it a 4. Like that makes me physically cringe.
Dude, when he said 3 out of 10 to me, I was literally shaking.
Have you seen Hunter x Hunter hiding?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a 4. I mean, it's higher than a 4, definitely.
I mean, the fact that he thinks it's a 2 is just mind
2. Oh, dang. Come on, at least it has like images that move. Like animation exists in the show. It's got to be better than like a 2. Come on.
Yeah,
No, it's no
I'm like
Keijo,
serial
but it's all right.
experiments lane.
It's no Keijo, but it's all right.
All right.
And I do appreciate that in the final arc of the anime, the Zodiac arc, we finally got some waifus, bro. I was like, Hunter x Hunter really needs some waifus. Like, we do get Palm. Evolved Palm is a good waifu. But it's like, we need more. And then we get the Zodiac girls.
This man not appreciating Dio Bisky.
Rooster chick.
Dude, what about
Biscuit's
Shizuka,
cool,
the
Biscuit's
vacuum
cool.
girl that was a part of the like big evil
Vacuum
group?
girl.
The Phantom Troop, vacuum girl.
Oh my
Shizuka?
god.
She's,
that girl
she's-
is like
woo.
the hiding in public
Ooh,
of
boy.
that show.
True. Every time anybody feels attracted to that character, just know it's actually me. Psych.
Yeah,
Got it.
I wasn't attracted.
But what? Are you kidding, dude? How
I
can
mean,
you not be
Animax
attracted?
said that he would consider Hunter x Hunter a 1.5 out of 10.
Jesus, 1.5. At least there's drawings in the show. Come on. Like,
All right, Brigo. Now that we mentioned Minoru Shiraishi for the second time in
By the way, someone in chat keeps asking what's better, Hunter x Hunter sub or dub. I don't watch dubs, so I don't know why you ask.
yeah, I watched it subbed too, but the dub wasn't even out when I watched it. So
Yeah, I watched it pre-dub.
Killwa's mom is a MILF for anime. I like women with non-robotic eyes. I mean, it's just a thing. I don't know. It's like
I don't know. I think it was just between the lack of waifus and Animac not understanding most of the characters. I think that's why he said it was 0.5 out of 10.
Yeah, but
0.5. At least
Zazan-
they came up with a title for the show.
bro,
Jesus.
Zazan was a pretty good wife. So for Zazan alone, I'll give it a
Zaza, dude, get your head out of your ass.
1.2. for
Stop
Zazan.
this madness. God damn. Anyway, Brigo, take it away. Tell us about a Chad.
Hi, a Chad. God damn it! I have
Yeah,
a
this isn't
character
the Chad
who
episode, bro.
undergoes a great Chad formation. I didn't talk about Kenichi in the last episode because there's a lot larger Chads in the series, obviously. But for this for this episode where we're talking about character development, I think it's worth noting that Kenichi starts off weak knees Kenichi, weak knees Shirahama, pretty much scared to do anything with his life, doesn't chase his dreams, doesn't act on anything, doesn't chase his girls in any way, and then he slowly undergoes his transformation. And I think pretty early on, You see that he wants to be this confident person, and then he's too scared to be. You see that he wants to do certain things, and sometimes he'll act when someone he cares about or something or something big is happening. Sometimes he'll act under the pressure, but he usually doesn't end up working out because he doesn't have the means to go through this transformation. But as he gets stronger, you get to see more and more frequently him in these confident scenarios and acting without hesitating and stuff like that. So you get to see him undergo his transformation throughout the series, especially in the manga. Within the first 50 episodes, you see it and you see glimpses of it. But slowly throughout the manga, when something happens, sometimes he's quicker to jump on it and isn't scared out of his mind like he is very frequently in the anime. And it's just great watching this kid completely transform his life and as a person by the end.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I think we
That
should do the
there is a
read-through soon, by the way.
transformation. I wanted to mention another character.
Go for
This
it.
is one that I had in mind before we started because I think this character undergoes some of the best character development of any character I've ever seen. He's obviously not Chaz. Like, he doesn't have his, theme song. But I think that whether you want to consider it an anime or not, I don't care. Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender, I think undergoes some of the best character development ever. Have you seen Avatar?
Yeah, I've seen all of Avatar.
When?
Like,
Within the last 5 years?
Yeah, probably within the last 5 years.
If you have to say probably, it's not a good sign.
No, Zuko's development is
Well, I owned
insane.
all of it. Like, as the DVDs came out, I owned, like, where they came out because they did it really stupid. They had, like, every 4 episodes, they release a new DVD. And then they had, like, all 5 DVDs for book 1 and book 2 and book 3. I loved it, though. I've rewatched, like, seasons of it, but I haven't gone through and watched the entire thing in one go in a long while. It's on Netflix, though, now, so it'd be easy to do.
Indeed. I think Zuko, you see him grow, you see his flawed mentality throughout, you see his development and how different characters influence him in different ways. You see him learn from the mistakes he's made, and you see him regret the decisions he's made. You see him make bad decisions time and time again until he finally decides to start making the good ones. I have to say, Zuko is fantastic, and I don't want to spoil it because not everyone has seen Avatar. But, I mean, it's pretty obvious as to where the story goes with his character. And I think that just throughout, bruh.
Yeah, I think that Zuko has some great character development for sure. Definitely a treasure of a character. I see. We were already like an hour in, and we have so many characters to still talk about, like Bond from the Son of the Sins, and pretty much almost every sin.
I thought you were going to
Except,
say
like,
Bond Clay.
Except Merlin, because unfortunately Merlin's development is not that great. She's a cool character, but it's not that great.
Well,
Also,
I think Bond is one of the best developed anime characters ever.
yeah,
also.
and One Piece has some great development too. Like the whole crew.
So One
has
Piece is
great
weird.
development.
People criticize One Piece for not having their characters develop, which they all do presently in the story. They do develop. Not a lot, because a lot of the times... So Oda decides to write these characters different, because they're all notorious and badasses from pretty much the start of the series. And they are who they are and like today because of things that have happened in their past. And he uses flashbacks as a way to show how they developed into who they are and why they act the way they do. So they have developed, obviously, but they're not constantly developing as much. They still do, but not as much.
I mean,
well,
like,
I
for
would say
example,
that some
Usopp.
characters-
Usopp develops a ton throughout because that's what it's all about. But, like, Luffy, mentality-wise, he doesn't change all that much.
Yeah,
He does
yes,
become a
I
better
agree
captain.
with that. I agree with
He
that.
does, absolutely. Yeah.
I would agree with that so far. Luffy becomes a better captain, but he's still like this reckless, like crazy dude. But some of the crew members, like Usopp, like Nami, really do change drastically from their starting point for the better. Robin too, for example. Like I think, yeah, there's some really good character development in One Piece.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, One Piece is amazing. That's
Yeah,
why we do a
One Piece is pretty good,
podcast
pretty good.
about it every week.
Bro, also, Con Oriano and the Face Tree
Oh,
from
bro.
Thriller Bark are two of my favorite crew members.
You know they're the same person, right?
They've developed so much.
I don't know. I feel like they're two people. Two
Oh,
strong.
I just spoiled Animac. God damn it. The tree was Conde Oriano in the skies all along.
No, I heard that theory, but and I know it's related to the moon and the ancient civilization, but I don't agree.
I mean, I think that theory makes more sense than like Usopp being the same person as Sogeking, because that's just impossible.
I mean, I think that speaking of Zolo, I think it's very important to mention how in the 4Kids version, he has probably one of the best zingers in the history of anime. He's up when it was up against Mr. One. Mr. One's like, "You're like a dog with all bark and no bite," and then Zoro goes, "Arf, arf, arf, arf."
Oh my god. Hey Nux, did you know that Zolo, he's like a samurai?
You know what? Nami is an LADY, and also,
Not shy.
bro.
Mance. All right.
I will say, guys, if you don't know, we have a One Piece Virgin podcast, which is the three of us together, me, Nux, and Briggs, and then we get some guests in. And we're reading all of One Piece from the beginning. We're almost up to chapter 500 now. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check us out. One Piece Virgin. Yeah, so I don't know. Should we go more into details on like Seven Deadly Sins and One Piece characters, or should we just save it for another time?
Save it for a part 2, dude.
Yeah, we can definitely save it for a part 2.
Other popular.
I mean, we didn't even mention Naruto characters, and I think Kakashi has some of the best character development.
Yeah, we also had some other characters.
Developed so much. It was like a son to me.
Bro,
Briggs.
it's like a son to me.
We also had some other characters mentioned, like Garo from One Punch Man in the chat.
People wanted me to talk about Soma and Megami from Food Wars, but if anything, I think Erina underwent the most development in the series.
Yeah, she's the Tsundere. Tsundere has developed more.
Is
Yeah.
there Toon formation version of Chad formation?
I think Chad can be male or female, Adamak. Get your head out of your ass.
Chad Lass, and Chad Lad. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
The other thing is a lot of people mentioned Simone from Gurren Lagann, and I agree. He undergoes
that's
some
definitely
great
true.
development.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
Simone-
but there's so many characters. There's so many characters in Monogatari. There's so many characters in even in Bleach. Like I think Ukiura has some great development. But whatever. There's a lot of characters. Garo from One Punch Man. You're crazy, obviously.
And you guys know that in terms of Gurren Lagann, you guys know I stand Kamina, but Kamina is a perfect example of a character who doesn't develop. He develops a bit, but not that much because he's already like,
the ideal.
Yeah, he's like this ideal.
Oh
that we
my god, I
strive towards.
forgot Sinbad.
But Simone
Sinbad.
is like Nux.
All right,
Hey, Nux,
anyway,
why
I
don't
think
you
we're gonna
scream?
have to start
Why don't
next
you?
one with Sinbad. I'm
why
gonna
don't you
scream next
scream
time.
Sim-
Don't worry. I'm
why
gonna
don't you
interrupt you
scream
while
Sinbad
you give me
when
your
I'm
advice.
not talking,
Thanks for giving me your advice,
How about you
Animac.
stop talking?
I will
Hey, stop
definitely
talking.
keep
Nux,
it
how
in
about you
mind.
stop talking? Hey,
Funny
Nux, stop
story.
talking. No one
Animac
cares.
thinks
Stop
that
talking.
Hunter x
Shut
Hunter
your
is
face.
5 out of 10 anime.
0.2
Shut your face.
out of 10.
Can you shut your face for a second?
Yeah, shut up, Nux.
At least Hunter x Hunter has like kanji in the title.
At least Hunter x Hunter successfully exists in today's climate.
The fact
For now, bro.
wow.
When
The
they
fact
discovered
that Animac
Hisoka-
rated Animac to be quiet, I'm talking.
You
the
be
fact
quiet.
that-
I was talking first. No, you shut up, Nux.
The
You
fact that
shut up.
Animac says
No, shut.
that
No,
Hunter
Animac
x
said nothing.
Hunter-
You know what Animac said? Animac said, "Shut up, Nux."
The fact that Animac considers Hunter x Hunter a -4 out of 10 is
At least it exists, man.
wow.
Why would you
Anyway,
turn on a power
did you
saw?
want to say something? Animac?
Yeah, that was the sound of my teeth whenever I heard that you actually thought it was a -4 out of 10.
Can you believe, I still can't believe it.
Oh, Nux, you deserve help, bro.
You know who else deserves help?
Hunter
Lord
x
Squillington, who donated $200.
200 what?
Dang.
Squiddleton. Lord Squiddleton. I didn't even see that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lord D.
Squiddleton.
Squiddleton. No, Lord D. Squid D. Littleton.
Wow, what a mad lad. He has 2 D's.
No,
in
he
there.
he doesn't get 2 D's, bro. That's not fair. That's cheating.
It's Lord Squid Dealton. That's how it is.
And thank you, Beck, for the bits, and Otaku Living Legend for the 12 subs. Appreciate it, guys.
And hiding for after 6 years, finally. Making my dream come true.
We love you, Hiding. We love you.
Also, we didn't even mention Hisoka's development, guys. Like, Hisoka could never exist in the modern landscape.
I
Sokka?
even did a tweet
From-
about that.
Avatar?
Bro, you know I like stealing your tweets for clout.
I know, you do it all the time. I'm so honored whenever it happens.
Yeah, I do
It's
it.
even
at
funnier
Anime
when you
Outro.
link it to me and you're like, bro, this is such a good tweet.
Yeah, I link it over at Anime Uproar.
Yeah, that's where he tweets it, guys. Definitely give him a follow.
No, but yeah, there's so many characters. There's Koro Sensei. There's freaking a lot of characters.
There's the
Well, actually, really good news for you,
Budrico
Animac.
Bandits.
I realized this a little bit earlier, not before the stream, but once we were on the stream. This is the first official stream when I don't have my creaky, terrible, bad, awful chair. I went out of my way to like a couple times like get a different chair to sit in on stream, but now like my official standard chair is like not loud and obnoxious, so you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Hey man, I appreciate that. You know, it did drive me nuts, so now I can sleep at night. Thank you.
Man, Animac,
It's been quiet, and I haven't even had to like sit all still.
Whenever I hear about things that drive Animac nuts, it just makes me sad. You know, I love this man.
I know, yeah.
I would
Hunter
never
was
do-
a
I would
Hunter
never
was a
interrupt him or
negative
anything.
negative
Interrupting
eye.
Animac is such a weak mindset. What were you saying? Okay. And with that said, Hiding, would you like to do an outro?
No, we gotta. Oh yeah, I guess we'll do the outro, but we are doing the read through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't need an official outro other than, guys, thank you for joining us. Hiding, bro, appreciate you. Appreciate your new chair.
It was fun.
Nux, always a
Hello.
pleasure, bro. You're just
Same here, man.
you're not a frustrating egomaniac at all. And
agree.
I
Thanks
think
for
if you
pointing it out.
got the Death Note, bro, I think there would be no problem for anyone. Like you would not develop an insane god complex and destroy
Right.
the world.
No. But I would do it. I have to say, I would definitely use it, but I'd use it much less frequently.
Oh, I'd love to know how you would use it, but then you would get canceled on Twitter. So,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I'm not. I think that getting canceled is such a weak mindset. Like, at the end of the day, if you're cool enough, you can't get canceled. Just don't, have sexual, relationships with your cat, and you're gonna be good. Shane Dawson.
Yeah.
I mean, that is good advice. Brigo, you were here as well, bro.
Yo, was I
Appreciate
here?
Yeah, you were here, man.
Damn, bruh.
You said that Kenichi went from like a crybaby to the mightiest disciple.
It's true. He did become the mightiest disciple.
Spoiler
I like
alert.
how he became the mightiest disciple. I was a little turned off when it spoiled it in the first title. of the
Yeah, I
anime.
really hope that that Deku doesn't become the greatest hero.
Yeah, that would be
Well-
so funny because every time I make an MHA video that speculates what's gonna happen to Deku, everyone's like, "Bro, Deku's gonna be fine because he says in the beginning, I'm gonna be the greatest hero." So like, there's nothing moving on from that unless it's a psych out and Deku just gets killed and Endeavor becomes the greatest hero. Huh? I don't know.
Yeah, he just gets straight Last of Us 2.
No, he gets in a coma and
He's
he's
like, I'm
living
gonna
a delusion
subvert your
that he becomes the
expectations in
greatest
season
hero.
9. I'm gonna have like a random bus fall and just fucking kill Deku in like season 9. It's gonna be very uncelebratory, very random, just to subvert expectations.
Yeah, it won't be
Make
controversial.
it into
at
high
all.
art.
This man is like, Deku's gonna be walking in front of some news station, see some guy freaking out in there, just murders him on the way out. Turns out it was Shujio Fimuji Tora all along, whatever his name is. The Fiji water guy.
I don't know. Oh, Minoru Shiraishi. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I
Dude,
exactly
that
what I
guy's
said.
strong. Dude, that guy's strong.
He-Man, yeah.
Can somebody power scale Minoru Shiraishi with
Facts and logic.
any other character in existence?
Yeah, Briggs can. He's a power scaler. Don't you see his videos?
I don't. He
Who am
doesn't
scaling?
upload.
Oh, I don't think they're strong in this Saitama, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, to be fair, if you can't beat Goku, you're not worth scaling.
It's true.
Dude,
And
Minoru
Goku's like
Shiraishi
plant
could
level, I'm
bench
pretty sure.
Goku with his finger.
Not planet, but plant.
Plant level.
Yo, did power scalers ever consider whether someone with psychic powers like Mob could defeat Goku?
Yes. Yeah, what the hell are you talking about? They've considered everything, all the possibilities, man.
Well, what annoys me with power scaling mainly is like, say someone like Itachi, how like he could use Genjutsu, but like by their logic, Genjutsu wouldn't work on someone like Goku because he is just above Itachi in tiers or something like that. Like if you could get the universal level, someone who is below you in a world tier or a dimension tier, just can't touch you with anything. Doesn't matter what hacks you got, which kind of just ruins the fun of everything.
Hello.
Bro,
Hi.
power scaling is not about
Oh,
fun. It's about
It's about
what are
winning
you
and
talking
destroying
about?
your
It's about
opponent.
justice.
And even if you don't make any sense, whatever, if you defeat your opponent, you're right. Hell yeah. Even if you don't even believe what you're
Well,
talking
I
about.
mean, I don't look, man. Clearly,
Alright.
Mouse
you
makes
don't
right.
understand power scaling.
No one understands power scaling. I want to see that video, Nux.
Well, and it was a large topic
Welcome.
in my latest One Piece video.
Welcome to Mousy.
But
I know I
have
can't
to
watch
say
it.
that It's a pretty Warlord level video. I definitely don't watch it.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
Mousy.
Anyway, thank you all so much. We love you. Goodbye. Did people know the link for the chat thing?
What?
Does Mousy
Chad
have the
thing?
link? Does Mousy have the
Yeah,
link?
she just came in.
Oh,
She's in.
Mousy's in here. Hello.
I've been here watching you. All of you.
You've been here all along.
Been here the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time.
Yeah, sorry if I misrepresented your Subaru thing, Mousy, but it sounded
How
like you were
dare you.
saying
It's
Aaron sucks and Subaru doesn't suck.
They both suck.
Well, I do agree that Subaru kind of sucks, but Aaron definitely doesn't suck.
Well, in the manga, I guess he doesn't suck.
I mean, overall, he
Yeah,
doesn't
man.
suck, but I don't want to get into this again. I had like whole TED Talks. I had Chaz Princeton-esque TED Talks on why Aaron is awesome, so I don't even want to do it. But it is hard to discuss it without like a reference to the manga, because a lot of it is now connected. But yeah, I kind of
I can't read manga.
I kind of want to watch this Chaz thing now, Nox. You really sold me, man. I in many ways I hate you, but I respect that.
Watch
You did really sell me on it.
Wow.
Game on, get your game on.
It kind of
Come
sounded
on
like
now, gotta play your cards right. Oh, come on and get your game on.
oh, all right. Well, now I just I've
Now you
gotta-
just have to.
I have to watch.
Schoolyard, making trouble, never working too hard. Back at class, they never taught us this.
I can imagine like the scenes as you're saying it, like of the opening.
You've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! GX hiding?
Yeah, I mean, I was like a kid basically, not
You
like
were
a
a
kid.
kid?
I was probably like 12 or something.
And I never.
But
even
yeah,
knew
no, I watched like all of GX. I had boxes full of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I would play
Same,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
same here.
very
bro.
wrong with
Oh
my friends.
God.
Yeah, you're actually not allowed to come to Rank Cafe if you didn't have at least one box full of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah.
Bro, I can't believe you've seen GX. It's like unbelievable. But dude,
Yeah.
did I represent our boy?
Yeah. I haven't seen
Bro.
past GX. I've just seen the original GX and Season 0,
Right.
which I saw later, of course, because it was a Japan only
Oh,
meme.
the first like 75 episodes of 5Ds are pretty fire, but the rest.
Card games on motorcycle.
Chat. I was gonna say Chaz. Chat. Everyone, while you're waiting for the read through to start, go up to Web Novel. The link is in the chat, and rate us with some Power Stones, and also you can read along with us from there because the new chapters are up.
Who's your favorite character in GX hiding?
Well, I was a dumb kid who was like the strongest guy is the coolest guy, so I was like Jaden, even though he's an idiot.
You like Jaden? Oh, disgusting! You lost.
But it was
to
only
Zane.
because he was the strongest, and I was like,
Zane
yeah,
was
I'm the
better.
strongest guy.
Zane was better, bro. Zane, bro.
Yeah,
For
I
fuck's
was just
sake.
like, yeah.
All right,
I'm like
and let's
Jaden.
be honest, hiding. Let's be honest. The Isekai arc in season 4 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is better than 95% of Isekai anime.
Is it better than?
Well, even if it was only mid, I feel like that would still be true.
I mean, it was mid. Come on, no, I'm kidding. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
But
back.
is it
Briggs.
better than Greed Island though?
No. But I mean, again, I don't want you to take that like objectively speaking, because you gave Greed Island a negative 420 out of 10. So
Yeah.
I mean, like,
So maybe you'd like it,
Well, at least it's not Chimera Antark, which I gave a negative 69 out of 10.
dude. Why would you? Well, I don't know. That is better than 420, though. I mean, that's like
yeah, that is
you
better
know.
than 420. I don't know where you're going with this anime.
Oh, I thought you said 4.20.
No.
Mm.
Oh, gotcha. No, but actually, Greed Island, because I think the power system in Hunter x Hunter is so intricate and so well thought out. And then they're like, you know what? That's not intricate enough, motherfucker. We're going to do Greed Island where we add power magic cards and all this other shit too. And they still did it and it worked. Like, I respect that a lot.
Power magic cards.
Oh,
Accompany
you know
on.
that character? Edo Phoenix. I really liked that character too. I thought he was like an asshole at first. I didn't like him, but then I really liked him. I kept
Cut out.
flip-flopping
Who are
on
you
him.
talking about?
Edo Phoenix.
The
Oh, Aster
the,
Phoenix.
gray hair guy.
Aster
guy.
Phoenix.
Yeah. A king.
Yeah, I love Aster Phoenix. He's great.
A king.
He was okay. I mean, he got absolutely slapped in Arc 4. Like,
Everybody gets slapped by Jaden.
No, but dude, it was like pathetic how badly he lost. Like, and he had the most broken card ever. He was against an Exodia deck, and he had this card that no one could draw more.
Exodia.
No one could have more than 4 cards in their hand, which means you can't have Exodia, right?
I hear a bit of an echo.
Yeah, I do not remember the fights this detailed.
Dude,
I'm
but
like,
that
I'm
card
running on
is
like.
so broken, and he still lost. Pathetic. God damn.
When I was younger, I actually went. I had my dad drive me to stores to do Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, and I played with an Exodia deck. That's.
Oh man, all respect for you lost.
I think that's before Pot of Greed was banned, so it was good.
There's an echo. It might be our friend Lucy. There's an echo. It might be our friend.
Oh, is that Lucy?
Yeah, our friend Lucy joined for the read through, but
Lucy,
someone
hats
potentially.
off to you for having an Akatsuki profile picture. God damn, do I love
Oh, I
Akatsuki.
love the Long Horizon. Oh,
Yes! Oh my
I
god!
love it
Iron
so
Mouse, you have the best taste ever!
thank you. So do
You
you.
like Gintama, Log Horizon, One Piece. I don't believe it.
I'm so
Where
excited.
were you all this time?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. This is
Floating void.
getting pretty messed up because you guys are bonding real well, and I don't think Melody would like that.
Melody's totally fine with this kind of thing.
I love Melody.
No, I know you love Melody, but is she gonna
you
like
clearly
you
don't
bonding
know
with Nux?
Melody.
You know?
What?
All right.
Yeah, because there's some rumors spreading.
What are you talking about? Which
Anime-
one?
Sexy rumors.
Yeah, Animac, you should tweet about this.
Well, if I do, it's gonna be like the top meme on the Nuxtaku subreddit for some reason.
Bro, you think
Okay.
the Nuxtaku subreddit would stoop to the standards of appreciating your memes?
Well, it was in your video.
It's only intellectual, like Billy.
Just a bunch of people screaming Billy, and then spamming Sakura porn.
So, funny story. On the 4th of July, since I roasted Legend of Korra, and the Legend of Korra fans wanted to take their revenge and flex on me back, my subreddit was flooded on the 4th of July with only Legend of Korra hentai, which was,
I know that's so sad.
Yauchi.
yeah,
That's
to
so
say the
sad.
least, it was inspired. It was very nice of them. They were kind.
Okay, well, now time to never think of Legend of Korra again.
Yes.
I'm gonna try
Agreed.
out. Thanks for having me on,
All
everybody.
right.
It's really fun.
Hell
Hey,
yeah!
Hiding, thank you
Thanks for
for
joining,
being
man.
here. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Take care,
you guys
bro.
have a great night.
Lucy, can you hear us?
Can I speak?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Hell
Yeah, I
yeah.
think you have to mute the stream if you're watching it at the same time, or otherwise
Yeah.
there's gonna be like a delayed echo.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
doing
cool.
that.
Awesome. Welcome. This is our friend Lucy, who's gonna be helping us with some female voices.
Hello. Thanks
She's
for
gonna-
having me.
She's gonna be doing Sophia and Terra, a new character in chapter 9.
Terra,
And-
like from Teen Titans.
I love Teen Titans.
And by the
Oh
way,
my god,
not,
I also love Teen Titans. What the hell?
and by the way, guys, Nux, our friend Nux,
That's
hasn't
me.
read the latest 2 chapters, so
I
he's
did
going in
not.
blind, and he's the narrator. He's gonna be absolutely hilarious.
I'm gonna go in raw, no rubber.
He's going in raw, no rubber,
Holy shit.
no tinfoil condoms or anything, and it's gonna be pretty great. And I'm gonna be doing Blair again because Melody's not here.
Well, you always did Blair. It doesn't matter if Melody's here.
Oh yeah, Melody was Sophia. Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm Blair.
At
I
least
don't know,
someone
man.
paid attention
People
to
love
what's going
me
on here.
doing Blair. I don't know why. Like, I am an actor and I give it my all, but people really seem to respond, and I appreciate you.
We appreciate you too, Anime.
Like, if anyone asked me, it's like, what character would you pick for yourself to voice in your novel? I would be like, yeah, the MILF cat girl for sure.
I appreciate you, even if you do like Aaron.
Oh, Mousy, read the manga, good. Well, whatever. Hopefully, the anime will come out this year, and it's supposed to be the last season. So then, finally, you can apologize, and it's gonna be okay. It'll be-
Mousy does not need to apologize for disliking Aaron in the anime. Aaron in the anime is a pretentious prick, and there's no reason to like him at all.
He's a shit.
Thank you.
He's an awesome dude, bro. He's traumatized. He's trying to do the right thing. What are you guys talking about?
He's selfish.
No, he's
Bruh,
how? In
big
what
time.
way? In what way? He's risking his life to save humanity.
This man
He's
pronounced
so-
what?
Yeah, that's when I'm mad. I say what.
Apparently.
What is it?
Can we read about cat girls, please?
Cool whip.
I'm sorry, Animac. Don't hate me.
No, I don't. Of course. Like,
No,
I mean,
don't.
if I
Don't
hated
worry,
people for
Mountie.
being wrong, then I
Then
would
you'd
have
hate
murdered
me.
Nux Taco. Yeah,
See,
absolutely.
this is what I'm saying. We're birds of a feather.
Oh,
Can I read the
Man,
thing?
I gotta learn to do that. Oh,
wow.
I gotta learn to do that for my Blair voice acting.
The kawaii like little in middle of the end. Bro, whenever I see Food Wars now, I think of Briggs voice acting the foodgasm in my video.
Holy shit.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, Briggs is something else.
I think Briggs went. Briggs, are you here? Or are you still in the bathroom?
I'm in
That's-
the bathroom watching
What do you-
GNTOA.
You went to the bathroom again, bro?
Briggs goes to the bath.
No,
Whenever Briggs does, yeah,
I went to get a beer because I can't be Lord DiBrigo unless I have a beer.
makes sense.
Whoa.
Yeah, you. Okay, so, all right, so, everyone, again, one more time, you can follow along on Web Novel, and let
Drop
me just
Power Stones and stuff. Follow Animac at Anime Uproar on Twitter, and let's jump right into this.
Yeah, let's start, everybody. Let's start the read through chapters 8, Animakistan, and 9, The Dragon Train on Web Novel, or 7 and 8 on non-web novel, because prologue counts as a chapter on Web Novel.
Oh, that's good.
Nux, you ready? You got it open?
Well, I was about to read the other chapter, but okay. I was gonna read the Cat Girl Dilemma. I just realized we read it already.
Yes,
All
we
right.
have. So Animakistan is the next
Chapter 8, Animakistan. Yeah.
Thank you for pronouncing it correctly.
No problem, Animac. I got you. The border crossing to Animakistan was guarded by an imposing stone fortress. Beyond the fortress is a narrow mountain pass. The only way to enter the pass was through an arched gateway. This gateway was blocked off by an iron ramp and guarded by soldiers wearing striking red uniforms. As we came to a stop in front of the gateway, I looked up at the impressive structure. The massive fortress was made of white stone, and at the very top of the central tower, a large flag was hanging from a pole and flapping in the wind. The flag was made up of 2 horizontal stripes of equal width. The top stripe was red and the bottom was blue. In the middle of the flag, there was a large white symbol. But since the flag was moving in the wind, I couldn't quite see what the symbol was. I asked Brigo, and he explained this was the official flag of Animakistan. The white symbol in the middle depicted a 2-headed dragon wrapping itself around a sword. Almost like Jake Paul's tattoo. Wow. I'm glad I see where you take your inspiration from, anime.
No commentary.
Okay, anyway.
Narrator, no commentary. Go on.
Sorry, my mistake. I saw something else too. Just above the stone gateway hung a large portrait of a man. The man had long, flowing hair and a trimmed beard. He wore lavish, regal robes of red and gold. His piercing blue eyes looked like they were staring right at us. And when I asked Brigo about it, because that's apparently all Burrito does, he confirmed that this was a portrait of Animak himself. Goddamn. 2 men passed through the gateway and walked up to our truck. They were dressed in red uniforms, and they wore matching red visor caps, similar to the caps the military officers wear in our own world. Both men were tall and clean-shaven, and everything about them screamed order and discipline. When they were just steps from the truck, the 2 men stopped in unison and raised their hands to their temples to form a military salute. Sir Lord D. Brigo, one of the men said, "Welcome to Animakistan. I am Captain Justin Lieber of the Border Guard, and this is Colonel Barry Lancaster of the 31st
Infantry Regiment.
That's exactly what he said. It is an honor to meet you, sir!"
Oh, you were expecting us.
Brig said, and jumped down from the roof. He walked up to the officers and shook their hands. The men revealed wide and childlike smiles as they came to face with Brigo. And by the way that they stared at him, it looked like they were starstruck. "Yes, sir!" the one named Justin said. "A Springle elf came through here earlier this morning. He told us you were coming this way and said that he was delivering one of your letters to the capital. But then he flew off in the wrong direction."
Goddamn Springle elves.
Brigo cursed. "Not to worry, sir," the one named Barry said. "We've developed working telegraph system throughout the kingdom. We've already sent word to the capital about your arrival."
Oh, that's great. Thank you kindly, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to meet you.
No, the pleasure's ours.
Justin proclaimed.
You're an
Sorry.
I like that Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure guys are doing the voices for these.
I'm ready to hear a Brigo boy.
You're a national hero of one of the 3 founding fathers of Twigoslavia. It's an honor to be in your presence.
Oh, please.
Brigo said, waving off the praise.
You are far too kind. Anyhow, my friends and I need to reach Slavograd as soon as possible. I must speak to Animak himself about an urgent matter.
I don't mean to interrupt your voice acting, but it's pronounced Slavograd.
Thank you.
The officers nodded in unison.
Yes, sir! The quickest way is to take the dragon train. We'll escort you to the nearest station personally.
Oh, Dragon Train.
Brigo muttered.
Well, you see, we were thinking of driving there. We've got this great horseless carriage and all.
You can take that carriage onto the dragon train, Sir Brigo, Barry replied. Driving all the way to Slavograd would take days, but if you take the dragon train, you'll be there by this evening.
Oh, I don't know.
Brigo said. He seemed a bit anxious, which was completely out of character for him. You said it's urgent, didn't you? I said to Brigo.
Well, yes, it certainly is urgent.
He replied. Then let's just take the train. I loved traveling by train when I was a kid. And I loved looking out the window at towns, cities, countryside, exploring this new country, Animakistan. From the comfort of a train would be a nice change of pace. Brigo was still thinking things over, and for some strange reason, he seemed quite nervous.
All right then, very well.
He said finally.
We'll take the dragon train.
Excellent. Please follow us. We've got our own carriage ready to go, so we'll escort you to the station in no time.
As the officers turned and walked back towards the gateway, I noticed something strange about the uniforms. The uniforms had 3 white stripes running down the sleeves and pant legs, which struck me as odd. This was a design feature that I would expect to see on Adidas tracksuits, not a military uniform. But all the other soldiers at the fortress had the same type of uniform, complete with the white stripes running along the sides. I just accepted it as part of this country's unique culture. The soldiers lifted the iron ramp using a pulley system, and we were invited to drive through the stone gateway.
Wow.
Blair said, as Brigo climbed up to the roof again.
They didn't even check your documents.
It's our documents. Please respect the author, Animak.
I'm sorry.
Well, of course not.
Brigo said.
Any friend of mine is always welcome here.
Blair laughed.
You're a real tiger of a man, aren't you, Brigo?
He sure is.
Sophia said softly.
Oh, come now, ladies. You're making me blush.
As we crossed the border into Animakistan, we could see dozens of other soldiers in red uniforms standing still and saluting as we passed. Brigo is truly a big deal in this country, and I realized just how lucky Truckjet and I were to run into him when we did. Without Brigo, we would probably still be lost in the middle of nowhere, or worse yet, we'd be dead. Instead, we were being welcomed like royalty, and it was all thanks to Brigo. The 2 officers from before, Justin and Barry, hopped into the horseless carriage that looked like an antique car from the early 1900s. They asked us to follow them, and soon the fortress was behind us, and the narrow mountain pass gave way to the vast expanse of lush countryside. The roads in Animakistan were wider and more modern than the roads in the lawless lands, so we were able to travel much faster than before. Although we had asked Truckjan to keep quiet as to not arouse suspicion from the cat woman, she just couldn't help herself. She kept whispering silly things to me throughout the journey, but thankfully... Titties. Very cool. But thankfully, the cat woman didn't hear her over the sound of the engine. She wanted to talk about everything, from complaining about Blair scratching the roof with her nails, to fantasizing about how many children the 2 of us would have, and I told her I hope we'll have many, so I can open up a car dealership. In order to get back from a break from Truckjan, I decided to start up a conversation with Brigo. Hey, Brigo! I whispered out the window. Man,
You whispered like that?
That was not a whisper. I'm sorry, my apologies. I didn't foresee.
Hey, Brigo! I whispered.
I apologize. Sorry. Hey, Brigo! I whispered out the window so that only he could hear me. He bent down towards me.
Yes, Burrito.
You seem a little nervous. Is everything okay? Brigo sighed.
There are only two things in this world that I'm afraid of. The first is nothing, but the second is heights. I wanted to avoid the dragon train, but these soldiers are right. If the matter is urgent and as it clearly is, we must travel as swiftly as possible.
I was confused. Heights? We're going on a train, aren't we?
Yes, the dragon train.
Brigo replied.
It is a train that flies on the back of a dragon.
Nani? Okay, he doesn't say that. I just added spice. What? I cried. I thought it was just a train with like a cool dragon design. Brigo laughed.
Cha! Now you seem a bit nervous, Burrito.
Of course I was nervous. I never even thought that real dragons existed, and I certainly wasn't planning on riding on the back of one. The occasional flight I took to Hokkaido to visit my father's family was as close to a high-flying adventure as I ever wanted to get.
Shit, my bad. Is it me?
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's perfectly safe.
Brigo went on.
These dragons are trained to fly over a single designated route. They never deviate from it, and they don't make up any unpredictable movements. It's not the dragon that worries me, it's just my irrational fear of high places. But now is a good time as any to conquer that fear, isn't it? We'll do it together, Burrito.
You bring a Chadley tear to my eye, Briggs. Sure, I said and shook my head. Embrace the craziness. I promised myself that I would embrace the craziness of this world, didn't I? This dragon train was the perfect opportunity to do exactly that, right? I have protagonist powers. At least that's what Brigo said. But if I really were an anime protagonist, I would have been excited at the prospect of this airborne adventure. Why was I absolutely terrified? We drove for less than an hour before we came across the first town. It was a lovely place, full of stone houses with bright red rooftops and cobblestone streets littered with people. The citizens of this town were going about their business, riding in carriages and cars, selling their wares at the market, and chatting with friends and neighbors. Now that I think about it, there was an unusually large number of attractive older women in this town, but other than that, everything seemed completely normal. The red and blue flag of Animakistan was all around us, hanging from every every lamppost and flapping on every rooftop. There were also some larger buildings made in an architectural style that reminded me of medieval Europe. And after our journey through the empty, lawless land, seeing these intricate structures was a breath of fresh air. At the center of town, there was a large building with stained glass windows. That must have been a church. And in front of the church, there was a statue of a long-haired man and a horse. This was clearly the benevolent and very humble ruler, Animak again. The ruler of Animakistan, since he was wearing the same clothes as the portrait we saw back at the fortress. The lead car came to a stop at the outer edge of town, next to some sort of farmer's market. Truck John stopped right behind it and turned off her engine. The two officers exited their car, and they asked to have a private word with Brigo, while the rest of us helped ourselves to goods from the market. Blair and Sophia jumped at the opportunity to get some food, but I was hesitant to go anywhere without Brigo. Brigo sensed my concern, so he told the officers that they could speak freely in front of me. That was Barry. Very well, Justin said. Please follow me. We'll go somewhere more private. I told Truck John to stay put until we came back, and then Brigo and I followed the two officers into an empty alleyway. Sir Brigo, Barry said, do you know anything about the patrons of Twigoslavia?
I've heard rumors, but nothing concrete.
It is an organization dedicated to the restoration of Twigoslavia,
Barry continued.
And both Justin and I are members.
I see.
Brigo said.
But if you wish to restore Twigoslavia, why did you join the army of Animakistan?
I'll explain, Justin said. His Highness Emperor Animak is ambitious, and he has been moving to expand his rule over the remnants of the former Twigoslavia. He plans to incorporate the lawless lands and several independent island nations into the Animakistani Empire. Brigo nodded.
Knowing Animak, that makes perfect sense.
1 second, I have to see if this is Barry or Justin. Damn, it doesn't say. I'll do Bustin.
Dealer's choice.
All right, thanks, bro. I knew you were a good man.
We believe that the best way to support the restoration of Twigoslavia is to support Emperor Animak's current policies, which are slowly reuniting the various divided parts of the country into a single whole. The only exception is, Nuxturia, which continues to maintain its independence. One day we hope to work with Lord Nux in order to bring everything together again. But as things stand, working with Nuxanor will be difficult.
Well, yes, of course.
Brigo said. Why is that, I asked. They all seemed to know why Nuxanor was hard to work with, but I had no idea, and I was curious. I don't know who says this, Briggs?
Again, dealer's choice, man.
Unlike Emperor Animak, who was always thinking about expansion, Lord Nuxanor spends most of his time organizing tournaments, lavish parties, and week-long festivals in his capital city of Flexington. The priorities of the two rulers couldn't be more different, and that's part of the reason why they can't see eye to eye.
Oh, I said. Brigo sighed.
Yep, their pointless rivalry has caused so much damage, and now with the Demon Lord's invasion, their foolish feud could destroy us all. Listen here, Justin and Barry.
The two men nodded.
Yes, sir!
Do you know where the ancient tower is?
Those ruins up in the north?
Yeah. The ancient tower was built 1,000 years ago. Its purpose was to guard the land we know today as the former Twigoslavia from northern invaders. The tower protects the narrow strip of land that any invading army would have to pass through in order to reach Twigoslavia. And that is where I've sent my Chadlad pirates. If we can fortify the tower and protect the pass, we can beat back even a much larger army.
Yes, it's Barry.
Yes, let me stay,
Barry said.
Once I convince Animak and Nuxanor to set their differences aside, we will all join forces at the ruins of the ancient tower, and we will be able to beat back the Demon Lord's invasion. That single act of unity will preserve our country, and it could also invigorate your efforts to restore Twigoslavia. We are on the same side.
Yes, sir, Justin said. You can count on us.
I'm glad to hear it. Oh. Is that me? Oh, yeah, it is me.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear it. I'll do my best to reinforce the pass as soon as possible, but until then, my pirates need your help.
Barry nodded.
The patrons of Twigoslavia are with you. We will send our strongest kink users to the ancient tower. We will stand together with the Chadlad pirates.
Brigo shook hands with the two officers, and they smiled at him and bowed repeatedly. As the three men continued to chit-chat about the politics of Twigoslavia, I heard a commotion coming from the street. I'll check it out, I said, and walked out of the alleyway. It didn't take long to identify the source of the disturbance. Despite my specific instructions, Truck-chan was not staying put. On the contrary, she was swerving around like a maniac and screaming profanities. She seemed to be chasing Blair, God, who was jumping around on all fours in an attempt to avoid getting flattened by Truck-chan. Sophia was just standing to the side, utterly baffled. Hey, Brigo, I called out, trying to keep my cool. I'll be right back. You just stay here with the officers, okay? Gave him a look that said that I wanted him to keep the officers busy inside the alleyway. At least I hope that's what it was. At least I hope that's what it said. I didn't know whether Brigo would take the hint.
Yes, sir. Sure thing, Burrito.
Brigo said and nodded, and I think he understood because he continued to chit-chat with the officers, which kept them occupied inside the alleyway. I ran out into the street. Truck-chan, what are you doing? When she heard me, Truck-chan actually turned herself around to look at me, and it was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Birito-kun!
She said,
That hairy prostitute tried to come inside me!
What? Blair.
I was just curious about the machinery inside the cabin.
Blair replied, still moving quickly from side to side, strafing, a true gamer would say, by the way, anime, in order to avoid Truck-chan.
I've never seen a carriage like this before.
Damn right you haven't.
Truck-chan shouted.
This carriage is gonna end all 9 of your slutty lives.
What's going on here, Birito?
Blair asked.
Why is your carriage moving on its own?
I sighed and shook my head. Oh, Truck-chan, please calm down. You're making a scene.
But Birito-kun, this bitch tried to enter me. Do you know what that means?
Yes, okay, all right, I said. I know what it means, but Blair doesn't. We never told her the truth about you, so just calm down. I'm begging you. I looked around. Thankfully, the streets around us were largely empty, but the few people in the surrounding area were definitely starting to look in our direction. Truck-chan sighed. She stopped her rampage and returned to a parking position.
Fine,
she said.
But if she tries to enter me again, I'll kill her and use her tail to clean my exhaust pipe.
Blair was still utterly confused, and so was Sophia. I was forced to explain everything, including the truth about Truck-chan and why we had to keep her identity a secret. Both of the Catwomen were shocked to learn that someone had the ability to transform from a truck into a human and vice versa. Neither of them had ever seen such strange magic before. However, this revelation did not deter them from continuing the journey with us, although Blair was suddenly a lot more cautious about turning her back on Truck-chan. Once I calmed everyone down, Prigo emerged from the alleyway with Justin and Barry, who's so far my favorite character, by the way, Animac, just saying. Barry, God bless him. The two officers got back into their cars, as we assumed, our usual positions aboard Truck-chan, and then we all took the nearest road out of the town. This road took us upwards as it swirled around in a large Inselberg, which is essentially a small mountain that pokes out abruptly out of an otherwise flat plain. As we made our way up the rocky ridge, still following the officer's car, we got our first glimpse of the dragon train. It was the craziest thing I had ever seen for the time being.
Nice. And by the way, Barry and Justin were named after two of our Apex of Boys patrons. And I don't know how they'll feel about Nux's interpretation of their characters, but, you know, it is what it is.
Dude, can you imagine we get into a call with Barry and it's like,
Nux, you did such a great job.
How did you know?
yes.
That was Animaki-stan.
Animaki-stan.
And the next chapter is the
Dragon Train.
Dragon, rock the dragon train.
Oh, flies on a dragon over our country.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Also,
Lucy.
Yandere Truck-chan, we love you.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, Dragon Train time. An enormous dragon was stretching its body across a vast platform that had been built right into the side of a mountain. The dragon was green, scaly, and so incredibly big that I couldn't quite believe my eyes. It was surreal. The creature was so large that there wasn't anything in the real world that I could quite compare it to. It was like Godzilla with wings or something out of Jurassic Park. If this dragon were to stand up and stretch itself vertically, it would be the size of a building, and not a small building either. I lived in a 30-story apartment building, but this thing was even bigger. The dragon was lying calmly on the top of a stadium-sized platform, and only its long, pointy tail moved from side to side every once in a while. As we continued to climb the mountain, we were getting even closer to the colossal beast, and I was getting nervous. I mean, this was crazy. One wild thrust of its massive body, and this dragon could bring the entire mountain down on top of us, and yet here we were, driving towards it instead of speeding in the opposite direction. Once we got closer, I could see that a second platform appeared to be strapped to the dragon's back. This platform was not as big as the one the dragon was lying on, but it was the second platform that gave the dragon train its name. On top of the smaller platform that was attached to the dragon's back, I saw what looked like a row of train cars. Although they had no wheels, they were simply bolted down to the platform itself. These train cars looked exactly like passenger cars on a luxurious train, but instead of riding on tracks, they were strapped to the back of a dragon. Truck-chan gasped audibly as we made it to the top of the mountain where the dragon train station was located.
This is amazing, Birito-kun.
She said, and I nodded in response. I was completely speechless. Carved into the surface of the mountain itself, the station was a long structure that included everything from ticket booths to restaurants to souvenir shops. The atmosphere here was no different than what you'd find at a train station in the real world. With dozens of travelers casually going about their day, no one seemed bothered by the presence of a gigantic monster whose head alone was larger than a locomotive. The lead carriage came to a stop in a parking area, and Truck-chan stopped right next to it. Justin and Barry emerged from the vehicle and walked over to one of the ticket booths. After a brief chat, the woman at the booth gave them a handful of green tickets. The officers brought the tickets over to us.
Here you are, sir, Justin said and gave the tickets to Brigo. These will get all four of you onto the dragon train, along with your carriage. They are executive tickets, so you will have your choice of cabin and full use of all onboard services. Please sign up for Delta's goddamn piece of trash system.
Thank you, my good man.
Brigo said,
We really appreciate your help. You've both gone above and beyond the call of duty, and I will never forget it.
The Catwomen gave their thanks as well, and then they jumped down from the roof and started exploring the station.
It was an honor, Sir Brigo.
Barry said and bowed. Justin bowed as well. But then he leaned over so that only Brigo and I could hear him.
As for the matter we discussed, we'll keep our promise. Our men will be sent forth for the ancient tower within the week.
Brigo nodded.
Excellent. Thanks again, my friends.
Sir Brigo!
Barry added.
We'll have one of our comrades contact you when you reach Slavograd, if that's right with you. I'll keep you up to date on all our activities.
Yes, of course.
The officers bowed again for the 14 billionth time. These guys are too...
They simp Brigo, bro. You have to go with it.
I simp Brigo too. And I don't bow that much, okay?
Well, simp him more and bow.
You know what?
Bow to me.
I'll take that to heart. The officers bowed again, and then they departed as the rest of us prepared to board the train. The platform on the Dragon's Back had several entrance points, and travelers were already making their way from the station onto the platform itself. The platform was surrounded by metal railing, and there was a walkway along the outer edges, which allowed the travelers to walk to their respective cabins. At the back of the platform, near the Dragon's Tail, there was a special entrance for carriages. As we drove over the gangway and onto the platform, I was shocked at just how stable the surface was. The dragon was perfectly calm, and if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes on our way up to the mountain, I would have never believed that there was a deadly, gigantic beast just beneath our feet. Half a dozen carriages could be parked inside a specifically designated area just behind the last of the train cars, and the platform was wide enough for the two carriages to be parked side by side. However, Truck-chan was wider than a normal carriage, so we were forced to take up two of the carriage spots at the very back of the platform.
She's
Truck-chan... She thick?
I think.
Have you ever said that before, Mousy?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, thick lolly. That's like,
Small
I
and
want-
big.
I
that's
want
the
that.
dream.
I want that as my ringtone. Her saying, "I think."
Every time you get a text, I think.
Honestly,
Alright.
I have no notifications on my phone, but if that was my ringtone, I would turn it back on.
Wow.
I'll record it for you.
All right, it's too late. Briggs,
It's
your
already
social
set up. I'm a tech master. Okay, go ahead, Nuts.
All right. Yes. As Truck-chan came to a stop, several men in uniforms approached us. They checked our tickets, and then they secured Truck-chan to the platform using some sort of harness. I also pulled the handbrake just to be safe. Yeah, that'll help. The men in uniform advised us to take our seats inside the cabin because the train would be taking off soon.
This is so exciting.
Truck-chan said after the men in uniform left.
But I'm not sure how I feel about being tied up.
Oh, I wouldn't mind
Blair said with a smirk.
as long as Birito's the one who ties me up.
Why, you nasty hoe!
Truck-chan squealed. And I think I saw steam rising from underneath the hood.
You're lucky they tied me down, Blair. As soon as I'm free, I will end you.
Blair laughed.
Oh, relax, honey. You're doing us a favor by letting us travel with you, so you have nothing to worry about. I won't mess with your man.
Then shut up already about Birito-kun.
Truck-chan said.
What? I can't even joke about it? Jeez, you're such a prude, Truck-chan.
Jeez, you're such a bitch, Blair!
All right.
Brigo interjected like he always does.
No more bickering. We're about to take off.
Shouldn't we go inside? I asked, pointing to the train cars. It's safer in there, right?
No!
Truck-chan cried.
Don't leave me alone out here.
We'll be
We'll be
safe here,
safe.
Burrito.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
No worries.
Brigo replied.
You can stay inside Truck-chan during takeoff, and the rest of us will hold onto the harness. God damn it, I'm dying. Just dragging air.
Brigo!
The dragon
what would
farted.
Barry say? Think of Barry.
I need beer. Grab me a beer. Delicious. Okay, where are we? You can stay inside Truck-chan during takeoff, and the rest of us will hold onto the harness. After that, it's smooth sailing.
Oh, is that me?
But wait, who even?
It's you, Burrito.
Burrito?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. But aren't you scared? I'm kind of freaking out, and it was true. My palms were cold and sweaty, and I felt like a lump. I felt as if a lump the size of a golf ball lodged itself inside my throat. Brigo nodded.
Yeah, Burrito, I'm actually terrified, but this is just another step on the road to Chad formation. Be strong, my friend.
The temporary gangways that connected the dragon train to the platform were removed, and all the gates were sealed. Then our train was given the all clear for takeoff from the station. And then everyone bought their United visas. Okay, anyway, and suddenly we felt the massive beast beneath us move. It wasn't a violent movement, just a gentle swaying from one side to the other. The beast spread its massive wings and pushed itself off the mountain. We could feel the entire platform tilting to the left, and then the mountain fell away from us as the dragon took flight. Whoa! I shouted as the unseen force blew below our feet, took us higher and higher into the air.
This is so much fun!
Truck John said, and Blair and Sophia were also excited. They had never been on a dragon train either, so this was all new to them as well. I was expecting a wild shaking and turbulence. I half expected to be violently thrown from the back of the dragon at any moment, but none of that came to pass. In fact, it was just the opposite. It wasn't long before the platform stabilized, and soon we were soaring through the air at a steady speed. It was certainly windy up here, but with a colossal dragon flapping its giant wings beneath our feet, the wind was the least of my worries.
Burrito, it's time.
Brigo said suddenly.
Get out and come with me.
What? Where?
Come on, you'll see.
I sighed. I didn't love the idea of going anywhere until we landed safely, but I promised myself that I would embrace this world, and I knew I could trust Brigo. I undid my seatbelt, opened the door, and stepped out onto the platform. Brigo led me to the railing at the very back of the platform while Truck Chan and the Catwoman stayed behind. Since we were at the tail end of the train, there was nothing behind us except a dozen oddly shaped boats. Brigo explained that these were lifeboats. They could float on water like a normal boat, but each was also equipped with an inflatable hot air balloon. The balloons were meant to use in case of an emergency forced us to abandon ship mid-flight, and they probably would help as much as, when when the captain in a plane is like, everyone, that we have life jackets under our seat. Yeah. Oof. Anyway, once we reached the railing, I was hesitant to look around. I tried to keep my eyes focused on Brigo, but he wouldn't have it.
Come on now, Burrito.
He said,
We're both afraid of heights. And that is why we must look down. In fact, we must go a step further.
What do you mean?
We must drain our snakes off the edge of the dragon train.
What? Are you crazy? Is that even allowed?
Well, no, it's not technically allowed, but we're all the way in the back. There's no one around to see us.
We can't. We really shouldn't, Brigo.
No, we shouldn't, but that's exactly why we must.
My God, this man is dying.
Yeah, sorry, boys. I went raspier than usual this time around. What better way to conquer our fear together than to drain our snakes right off the edge of this giant chasm beneath our feet? We will forge a manly bond that will last a lifetime. Our Chad formation demands it, Burrito.
I love that you pronounce chasm as chasm just because you're such a Chad. You're such a Chad. It's every fiber of your being. It's crazy. As Brigo detached the piece of arm, can we get a side story of the guy that was under the dragon train when the snake draining happened? Anyway, as Brigo detached the piece of armor around his crotch, I was in complete shock. Not only did he want me to drain the snake with him, but he wanted me to do it off the edge of a giant flying dragon. I vowed to embrace the craziness, but this was nuts. It's windy, I said. It's gonna blow us everything right back at us. Brigo put his hand on my shoulder.
Remember what I told you, Burrito. You must believe in your snake. You must have faith that all things will fall exactly where they should. Believe, Burrito. Believe.
Fine, I shouted and unzipped my pants. I grabbed my snake, dangled it off the railing, and released. The wind blew our stream sideways, but it wasn't strong enough to blow any unwanted liquids back at us. I believed in my snake, just like Brigo said, and all things fell exactly where they should. This was the first time I'd actually looked down since the dragon took flight, and the sight was stunning. The platform we were standing on was wider than the dragon's body, so when we looked down at the railing, we were looking straight down. We weren't nearly as high up as someone traveling in an airplane would be, but we were high enough to see everything from a bird's eye view. Beautiful hills, valleys stretched endlessly below us, parted on occasion by rivers and lakes. We could see towns and villages too, small patches of red and white amongst an ocean of green.
Brigo.
We're doing it, Burrito.
Brigo shouted as the wind picked up.
We're facing our fears and forging a lifeline bond.
Hell yeah! I screamed into the wind. Never thought I would do anything this extraordinary in my life. And here I was, pacing off the back of a dragon. For the first time in my life, for the first time in years, I felt alive. When we finished our business, we hugged each other like men. And we walked back to where Truck-chan was parked. Truck-chan was complaining to Sophia about not being able to enjoy the view, while Blair stood by the railing on the other end of the platform. The wind was blowing Blair's hair back as she took in the sights, and it was in that moment that my eyes suddenly wandered further up the platform. I saw a man. I only got a brief glimpse of the man's face before he entered one of the train cars, but I could have sworn that I had seen this man before. Hey, Brigo, I said. Did you see that guy?
What guy?
The one that went into car number 5. Brigo shook his head.
Sorry, Burrito, wasn't really looking.
I said. He was wearing different clothes. More expensive clothes. But that guy looked a lot like Todd. You know, the brute from the tavern.
Cha-cha-cha, the one who pissed his pants?
Yeah!
Don't be silly, Burrito. What would a fool like that be doing on a place like this?
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I dropped the subject, but the resemblance was uncanny.
Birito-kun,
Truck-chan said.
how was the view?
It was nice. But, well, it's not that much different from the view over here.
Oh, really? Well, okay.
This wasn't exactly true. The view from the railing was exhilarating, but I didn't want to hurt Truck-chan's feelings. Wait! Was I really worrying about her feelings? Oh, God, what is happening to me? Brigo, I said, trying to change the subject. When you fully master your kink, will you be able to, travel back to our own world? Brigo replied.
Each kink's power is unique, but I've never heard of any kink that can travel between worlds.
That sounds like ancient magic.
Sophia said. What's that?
Ancient magic is what we call the mythical magical powers that are said to have existed long ago, but which are now forgotten. The idea of traveling between worlds is one such power, although...
Yes? Sophia smiled.
Well, Truck-chan's ability to transform, that's not something I've ever seen before. I've only heard of such power in fairy tales, and from everything I know, it must be a form of ancient magic.
Oh, I see, I said. I was about to ask more questions, but that is when it happened. We heard a loud banging noise coming from the rear train car, the one closest to where we were standing. Then suddenly, 2 people forced their way outside. Bring him out, one of the people said. The lifeboats are at the back. Let's go.
Nux, that's actually Lucy has to do it. It's a woman, Tara, but Lucy, you have to do it for this one. Sophia was good, but now you gotta go crazy. You gotta go yandere.
All right.
I have to say though, I gave Tara quite the voice.
I don't know if I can match up with that. That was too good.
I'm sorry.
Should I just do that line again then?
Yeah, do the line, yeah.
Bring him out!
One of the people said. I'm sorry.
The lifeboats are at the back. Let's go!
The 2 people who had emerged from the train car were a man and a woman. The woman was short and petite, and the man was also short but muscular. They were dressed in all black, and they wore spiked chokers around their necks. The woman had her hair tied up in a messy bun that also had spikes sticking out of it. Very edgy woman, as you can see. And she was carrying some sort of baton with a blowing glue orb on each end. The man had a blonde, spiky hair and wasn't carrying a weapon.
Let's go!
The woman shouted again, and then another man emerged from inside the train car. Rather, it was 2 men. An elderly gentleman dressed in an expensive suit was being manhandled by a tall and skinny younger man who was dressed in the same strange fashion as the other 2. The younger man was holding a blade to the older man's throat and forcing him to walk forward. As all 4 people slowly made their way to the carriage area, several officers wearing red uniforms rushed towards them, but before the officers can get close, the woman pointed the end of her baton right at them. We heard a sharp sound that sounded like a loud static, and then we saw blue lightning shoot out from the woman's baton and smash into the upcoming officers. One of the officers stopped in their tracks, their bodies shaking uncontrollably. The officers stopped in their tracks, their bodies shaking uncontrollably, and they fell to the ground, completely motionless. Truck-chan squealed when she saw this. Then a cold sweat ran down my spine. Just as the officers fell, the woman turned around and smiled.
Ladies and gentlemen,
She said, grinning and twirling her baton.
my name is Tara. This is my partner, Shift.
Hello, the bulky man said.
Quick tip.
The woman continued.
If anyone moves an inch, we'll kill you on the spot. We're members of the infamous criminal organization known as the Agents of Chaos. We'll be taking this man
She pointed to the elderly gentleman.
to one of the lifeboats, and then we will use that lifeboat to disappear. Do I make myself clear?
Whoa! One of the passengers says. Is that Lou D. Chris Funds? Who? Another passenger said. That old man is one of the richest men in Animakistan. Lou D. Chris Funds! I've seen his picture in the papers.
Tara turned to the two passengers who were talking.
Well, I guess it's my fault since I told you not to move, but I didn't tell you not to talk.
She quickly aimed her baton at the two passengers and fired. The blue electricity surged through their bodies, and they both fell to the ground, shaking and twitching.
There. Now you know for next time. No talking.
We have to do something.
Brigo whispered to me.
We have to stop these criminals.
I didn't respond. If they heard us talking, they would fry us next.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
Tara continued.
if you allow us to leave without any more trouble, no one else get hurt. But if you try anything funny... Hey, Shift?
Yeah, Tara.
What's gonna happen if they try anything funny?
Oh, that's easy. We'll kill them, and then we'll kill the hostage.
Tara nodded.
That's right, Shift. By the way, what's that guy's name?
She pointed to the tall, skinny man who was dressed like them.
Shift rubbed his chin. I'm not quite sure, Tara. The boss said he was a henchman number 504.
I remember now.
Tara proclaimed.
The boss said his name was Davy. Hey, Davy!
Yes! No, I can't do that.
No, you gotta do it.
No. Yes, the henchman replied. Okay.
You know what to do with a hostage if anyone tries anything funny, right?
I slap.
No, Davy,
Shift said, shaking his head.
if they try anything funny, you kill the hostage. Got it? You stab, choke, throw him overboard. Take your pick.
Davy frowned. No pick. Slap. Shift sighed.
Okay, slap to them.
Yes, slap.
Great. Glad that's settled.
Tara said.
Now, where were we?
As this exchange between the criminals was taking place, out of the corner of my eye, I saw that Blair, who had been standing by the railing, was now moving in our direction. I didn't know what she was thinking, but it looked like she was trying to use her cat-like agility to sneak up on the criminals from behind.
Well, what do you know?
Tara exclaimed.
We already have a hero.
She pulled what looked like a glowing seashell from one of her pockets and pointed to the hollow end at Blair, where a loud whoosh, and the next thing we knew, Blair was sent flying, as if a localized hurricane swept her away in an instant. Blair flew over the railing and fell overboard.
No!
Brigo screamed, and suddenly his golden aura exploded into life around him. Chadlas appeared, but instead of manifesting itself next to Brigo, she appeared standing on his shoulders. The next thing we saw was Chadlas jumping off the railing and diving to save Blair, while Brigo grabbed her ankles with his outstretched arms to prevent her from falling overboard.
Oh, we've got a king user among us,
Shift said.
Finally, a challenge.
He began to laugh as his body pulsed with dark brown aura, and in the next moment his kink appeared.
Wow.
Wow.
Yay.
Hi.
As much as I love Davey 504, Barry kind of stole the show.
Yo, solid voice acting there, Nuxie boy.
Yeah, bro. Knox, this was challenging. To do a bunch of different voices, so respect. Thank you all.
Thanks, brother.
Slappers.
It's beautiful.
Thank you to Lucy, her first time here, and she did great. Tara, I actually really like Tara as a character, so
Hope I did her justice.
yeah, and of course, Mousy as Truck-chan is a modern classic.
I just love whenever it's like Truck-chan squealed, I always pause because I know Mousy's going to go,
Yeah, no, it's good. And I mean, Brigo, I can't really praise him because that's just how he is in real life.
Oh, thanks, bud.
I love Brigo's voice acting. Are you crazy, man?
Yeah,
It's
because he's
amazing.
a Chad in real life, so it's just
And just raspier. That's all I do.
For this next line, I'm going to need a drink of beer. Grab his beer. Glug, glug, glug. And then the next line is, no, Brigo. No burrito. Yeah.
No beer, though. You cannot have any of my beer.
We will drain our snakes together.
Oh, that snake moment was, it was good.
Bro, so far the snake moments are top tier. We need a snake compilation at the end of this.
Yes, clearly. UB, thank you for the 4,500 magical bitches.
Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, guys. I personally think the Dragon Train was one of the more exciting chapters, but
I'm excited for the battle next chapter.
Yeah, it's gonna be some crazy shit. Man,
They're tank users, so it'll be rough for Brigo to fight them alone. But I have faith.
yeah, and it's definitely wasn't easy to describe all this shit. But like I was like reading One Piece, I'm like, yo, I can't just have them like traveling on a road. They have to do some crazy shit. And the Dragon Train is what happened.
Wow.
Hopefully they save Lou D. Chris funds.
Hashtag save Lou Decrease funds. Hell yes.
All right, guys.
I hope you're okay. You sound like you're dying. Are you okay?
Yeah, my throat definitely hurts. 2 chapters in a row, but
Oh, it's because of the reading?
No,
Yeah.
Brigo, whenever he does like his raspy Brigo voice, it's like, I mean,
it's usually fine. But when it's like long lines and 2 chapters, it does get a little bit.
How do you do One Piece D&D, bro?
Well, you know what
grunts.
it is? It's because I'm reading a script.
what
so,
do
like,
you think, Ragnar?
Yeah, I was gonna say like because I'm reading a script, like I have to like follow it word by word. While in like in One Piece D&D, it's just more natural. I'm like, all right, boys, let's go.
All right. I hear you. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to everyone in the chat and everyone who donated and supported us. We love you. Keep following the Rant Cafe podcast, rantcafe.tv on Twitch. We also are on YouTube and all these other platforms, Spotify, etc. And of course, the novel is on Web Novel.
I'm excited until we meet next Lord Nuxanor. It's going to be great. You may think it's awkward when everyone around him keeps cheering, Nux it up! But I think it's cool.
Hey, it could happen. It could happen. I feel like the people who follow Nuxanor are going to be incredibly obnoxious. Like him, right? Otherwise, how would they survive? Right. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. See you guys next week. And until next time, see us, Space Cowboys.
Bang.